Chapter 1174. Southern Cloud King said. Legend has it that there was once an opportunity for one to become a chaotic origin life form. Therefore, before the first war of the ancient nations, there had been a great war. That time, undying underworld emperor forcefully snatched away that opportunity. He then left the realm Heart Great Land and embarked on his path to become a chaotic origin life form. It's just that a long time has passed, and now that he's back, it's clear that he's failed to break through. Where is he going to attempt to become a chaotic origin life form? Dongbo Shuang was curious. I do not know. Perhaps Yuan might know. Southern Cloud King answered. Dongbo Shuang softly nodded. Oh right, teacher. It seems I can't find any information regarding chaotic origin life forms in the books. Haha, this information is very precious. I, your master, have gradually learned more and more over the years. Southern Cloud King chuckled. Across the entire realm Heart Great Land, the realm Heart God Palace has some guidance on how to become a chaotic origin life form. A supreme secret technique suitable for oneself was enough to make any invincible existence go crazy. This was even rarer than a supreme secret treasure. Other than that, there was the number one dangerous ground in realm Heart Great Land, the Broken Teeth Mountain Range. The Broken Teeth Mountain Range is the place that truly contains many top-notch fortuitous encounters. The tallest mountain peak in the Broken Teeth Mountain Range is like a broken tooth, right? Southern Cloud King chuckled. Dongbo Shuang nodded. He knew that. It was named the Broken Teeth Mountain Range because of the huge mountain peak that looked like a broken tooth. The Broken Teeth Mountain Range was so vast that it was equivalent to 3 summer wind ancient nations. It was publicly known that 2 unparalleled existences had fallen within. That's one of Yuan's broken teeth, Southern Cloud King said. According to the information I obtained after exploring the Broken Teeth Mountain Range many times, this broken tooth is a spoil of war left behind by a powerful chaotic origin life form, Yuan. In the past, Yuan was heavily injured because of this. He threw this broken tooth down onto the realm Heart Great Land, turning it into the tallest mountain peak in the entire Broken Teeth Mountain Range. There is more than one corpse of a chaotic origin life form being thrown into the Broken Teeth Mountain Range. Because of this, the entire Broken Teeth Mountain Range is filled with all kinds of miraculous phenomena. Many worlds were born, strange species were born, and there were even dangers. Even invincible existences could fall because of this. It is still fine for those of us with many avatars. Even if we die, we would only lose an avatar. Southern Cloud King explained. In the future, you will understand once you enter. The realm Heart God Palace wasn't dangerous at all. But the Broken Teeth Mountain Range was filled with danger. But there are also many opportunities related to chaotic origin life forms. Dongbo Shuiying's eyes lit up. Yuan was treating the realm Heart Great Land as his territory, and casually threw away some spoils of war that he had no use for? The corpse of a chaotic origin life form? More than one. For instance, undying underworld emperor had visited the Broken Teeth Mountain Range some time ago. Southern Cloud King looked at Dongbo Shuang. He is different from us. Undying underworld emperor has always been risking his life in hopes of jumping out of the cage to reach another level. His methods are famous for being evil and cruel. If you continue like this and ruin his plans, you will be obstructing his path of cultivation. I'm afraid he won't forgive you. This time, you have offended Eternal Night Primogenitor. In the future, you will offend the more terrifying Undying Underworld Emperor. Who knows, you might even offend 1 or 2 more ruthless, unparalleled existences. Southern Cloud King looked at Dongbo Shuang. Even if you become an unparalleled existence, you can't stop them. I can stop them as long as I become a chaotic origin life form. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. Stopping unparalleled existences is beyond the scope of my current strength. Be careful. Southern Cloud King did not say anything else. Time passed. After visiting his teacher, Southern Cloud King, Dongbo Shuang no longer went out. After experiencing 2 great battles, killing a Paragon Master and a level 2 Cosmos God Devil, Dongbo Shuang had always been filled with emotions. Especially after drinking the Chu clan wine for more than 10 days, he gained even more inspiration. He gained a new understanding of the Tao of Void, and a brand new killing technique was being nurtured in his heart. He needed to calm down and ponder over it. It wasn't that easy to reach the final realm. Instead, creating different techniques based on different understandings was also a form of accumulation. As his accumulation became deeper, the chances of him breaking through would be greater. Just a few months after visiting Southern Cloud King, the intelligence system of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion sent over another piece of information. Elegant Peace Valley City, blood sacrifice? Dongbo Shuiying, who was currently meditating within the cultivation room, felt killing intent surging in his eyes the moment he got the news. In the past, when he reincarnated into the Ardent Fire City, in the realm Heart Great Land, he was once subjected to a blood sacrifice. That time, he stood out and fought against White Cloud Devil Master. In the end, the Ardent Fire City escaped from this calamity. And now, there was another blood sacrifice. Humph. The void in front of Dongbo Shuiying directly tore apart into many black cracks. Following that, Dongbo Shuiying flashed through the cracks and headed to the other side. Blood sacrificing a city was a common occurrence across the entire realm Heart Great Land. Through the blood sacrifice, one could extract the essence of blood spirit through other methods. This was comparable to the essence of chaotic origin and was greatly beneficial to the soul. And those who could extract the essence of blood spirit had undergone many experiments. They were all great devils whose names shook the entire realm Heart Great Land. For instance, Yama Religion Master knew how to extract and refine the essence of blood spirit. Even though it was common, it was ultimately a city, and the lifespan of cultivators was very long. Hence, the blood sacrifice in the realm Heart Great Land would only happen once in a while. Even the fiery Zhao Nation, which had many blood sacrifice cities, would only happen once in a very long period of time. They had to be given time to reproduce and grow. No, let's fight it out with them. Elegant Peace Valley City had already fallen into despair. The commoners here all looked up at the troops formed by the devils. Among the countless commoners in the city, there were children who were frightened to the point of crying. There were cultivators who wanted to risk their lives for the sake of their families. There were also those who wanted to escape. There were also those who went mad. All sorts of chaos occurred. This Elegant Peace Valley City was a city that was even bigger than Ardent Fire City. Yet it similarly could not hold on. Not all cities were so lucky that a genius expert like Yingshan Snow Eagle would emerge among the cultivators in the city. As for an ultra-strong expert coincidentally staying in the city, this kind of coincidence was very rare. Hua. Within a residence within the Elegant Peace Valley City, a black crack flashed. A white-robed male walked out from within. His appearance had changed, he was colder, and his aura was colder too. There were no ultra-strong experts coincidentally staying in the city. Instead, there was someone called Dongbo Shuiying, who took the initiative to come. You actually dared to slaughter the trillions of civilians in a city. All of you should die. Dongbo Shuiying roared. His roar reverberated across the world. It reverberated across every single inch of the Elegant Peace Valley City. Many civilians in the Elegant Peace Valley City that had fallen into chaos and despair heard it. Those devils heard it too. All of them were stunned. Hope rose in the hearts of the civilians in the city. The 8 Silk Island is conducting a blood sacrifice. Those who obstruct us will become enemies with my 8 Silk Island. High up in the sky, a 10th level expert who was currently sitting cross-legged controlling the soul bottle looked downwards. His voice rumbled. 8 Silk Island. 8 Silk Island Master knew how to collect the essence of blood spirit. He was a final realm cosmos god expert. It's just that he did not have any supreme graded secret treasures. Become enemies? Humph. A cold snort. Hua. The void above the entire Elegant Peace Valley City shattered like a mirror. Hundreds of cracks appeared. Every crack had traversed across more than half the sky above the Elegant Peace Valley City. It might have passed through an entire team of devils, or a primal chaos devil. Even that primal chaos 10th level devil in the sky was similarly pierced through by a crack. The cracks were distorted. They were so ugly that they covered the entire sky above the Elegant Peace Valley City. However, all the demons were killed in an instant. A cosmos god from the 8th Silk Island, who was using a secret treasure to isolate the area outside, was so frightened that his face paled. How powerful is the suppression from the supreme law in the realm Heart Great Land? Yet the technique he executed could cover an entire city. This is absolutely the strength of a final realm expert. Furthermore, he specializes in domain techniques. Who is it? Who exactly is it? Pung. Suddenly, the isolation technique he executed inexplicably boomed, causing a huge hole to appear. Following that, the body of this cosmos god trembled. His eyes widened before he dissipated like sand. All devils from the 8th Silk Island who participated in this operation were wiped out. I can't do anything to 8th Silk Island Master. But as long as he carries out the blood sacrifice, I'll kill him. I'll kill him 8 to 10 times. Let's see who still dares to perform the blood sacrifice. Dongbo Shuang appeared at the place where that cosmos god died. He watched coldly. Following that, a black crack flashed by the side, and he disappeared. Dongbo Shuang returned to his meditation room in Feishua City. Within the meditation room, the incense was still burning. A refreshing fragrance permeated the entire room. Dongbo Shuang sat down cross-legged. His surging killing intent gradually calmed down. He continued cultivating. To him, this was merely something he did casually. It was merely a part of his daily life. Chapter 1175. Those devils were easily killed by Dongbo Shuang. Hence, he naturally did not care about them. But someone did. Who is this white-robed male? He actually dared to disrupt the blood sacrifice of my 8th Silk Island, and even killed the experts of my 8th Silk Island. Island Master, we must investigate his identity. He actually killed all the experts sent by my 8th Silk Island. That is too overboard. He did not give my 8th Silk Island any face at all. The palace hall was in an uproar. This palace hall was one of the most famous gathering grounds for devils in the entire realm Heart Great Land, the main palace of the 8th Silk Island. The leader of the 8th Silk Island, 8th Silk Island Master, was a final realm cosmos god expert. Even though he did not have any supreme-graded secret treasures, in terms of strength and influence, he was much stronger than Yama Religion Master, Western Floating Old Ancestor, and other Paragon Masters who had great survivability abilities. Those who could reach the final realm usually had the ability to survive under the attacks of unparalleled existences. After all, they had cultivated a Tao to the final realm of Cosmos God, and they possessed all sorts of unfathomable great magical abilities. Even unparalleled existences could defeat them easily, but to kill them? That was practically impossible. Just like the battle between Old Monster Stone and Sacred Master. Both were heavily injured because they did not choose to flee. Sacred Master had to protect the ancient sacred world, and Old Monster Stone was unwilling to flee purely out of anger. If he wanted to flee, even unparalleled existences could not stop him. Hence, 8th Silk Island Master was a final realm cosmos god and a great devil. After he monopolized a region, many devils would naturally come to seek his protection. Usually it was them who bullied others. When had they ever been bullied like this? Other than the 6 great ancient nations, their 8th Silk Island did not fear anyone. All of you shut up. 8th Silk Island Master indifferently shouted, causing everyone below to quieten down. 8th Silk Island Master was very fat, extremely fat. He was like a huge lump of meat sitting on his throne. His pair of small eyes were looking at the scene on the heaven observation mirror. Even though his subordinates had gone to the elegant Peace Valley city for the blood sacrifice, they were watching from afar through the heaven observation mirror. And they were watching from afar through the heaven observation mirror. It's just that Shuang acted too quickly, and before they could save him, Shuang had already left. Insect Ancestor, I've let you see a joke. The 8th Silk Island Master looked at the other expert sitting beside him. It was a humanoid creature covered in black scales. It had a pair of crystal-clear wings that were as thin as cicada's wings, and 2 soft antennae protruded from its forehead. It was like a humanoid insect. He had a pair of cold eyes, and anyone who looked into his eyes would feel a chill from the bottom of their hearts. I never imagined that such a thing would actually happen during the blood sacrifice of your subordinates, Island Master. Insect Ancestor's voice was hoarse. However, the corner of his lips curled into a smile. Looks like our luck isn't too good. My luck is really bad. Who would have thought that there would be a powerful cosmos god living in seclusion within this elegant Peace Valley city? This cosmos god specializes in the Tao of Void. Judging by his techniques, it seems he has reached the final realm. 8 Silk Island Master said. There are so few final realm experts in the entire realm Heart Great Land that it is pitiful. Who would have thought that I could meet one of my subordinates who did not give me any face at all? There were indeed very few ultimate realm experts. Other than unparalleled existences, those who remained could be counted with 2 hands. The exact number was something even the experts in the realm Heart Great Land could not ascertain. Because those who reached the final realm without supreme graded secret treasures would either dominate a region or live in seclusion, seeking to become a chaotic origin expert. As for those who lived in seclusion and did not publicize it, not many knew of them. Who would have thought that other than you, insect ancestor, there is still such a mysterious final realm expert in the realm Heart Great Land? 8 Silk Island Master said. Fortunately, I broke through at the place of Island Master. Insect Ancestor chuckled. Haha, it is my honor for Insect Ancestor to break through to the final realm at my place. Now that Insect Ancestor has broken through, it is likely that your name will shake the entire realm Heart Great Land. 8 Silk Island Master sighed. Final realm experts either chose not to reveal themselves. The moment they were revealed, it would shake the entire realm Heart Great Land. Because any final realm expert was a potential unparalleled existence. Even if they did not have any supreme graded secret treasures, they were qualified to stir the world. Humph. Insect Ancestor sneered. His eyes flashed with killing intent. That's right, it is time for my name to shake the entire realm Heart Great Land. 8 Silk Island Master chuckled when he saw that. It seems some people are going to be unlucky. I have endured for a very long time. Insect Ancestor nonchalantly said. He then changed the topic. Are you going to forget about that mysterious expert who killed so many of your subordinates? He is an expert in the Tao of Void. Furthermore, I have never seen him before. I can't find him even if I want to deal with him. 8 Silk Island Master shook his head. His plump body swayed. Forget it. Just treat it as I am unlucky this time. The other experts from the 8 Silk Island could only suppress their anger when they heard that. Since we don't know his identity, we can't even find him. Consider him lucky. He must be afraid of offending Island Master. That's why he doesn't dare to reveal his identity. All of them said. 8 Silk Island Master snorted. It's just that his small eyes were narrowed with a cold glint. Previously, through the heaven observation mirror, he saw Dongbua Shuang unleashing his technique. That single move caused hundreds of spatial cracks to cover almost the entire sky above elegant Peace Valley City, killing all his subordinates within the city. Such a huge area and such power made 8 Silk Island Master understand. The other party was a formidable opponent. I can only treat it as being unlucky. 8 Silk Island Master thought. He had many subordinates, and this time, he merely sent out a team of them. Island Master, I've stayed here for a very long time. It is time for me to leave. Insect Ancestor stood up. Dongbua Shuang quietly cultivated within the Feishua city. Just a year later, his teacher, Southern Cloud King, had collected all the materials recorded on the second scroll. That time there were 2 sets of scrolls. The first scroll recorded all the precious materials required for a chaotic origin weapon, other than the chaotic origin sand. Even though it was easier to obtain, that was only when compared to the chaotic origin sand. The intelligence network of Southern Cloud King would most likely require a relatively long period of time to collect all these materials. The materials recorded on the second scroll were relatively low-end. Even though they were worth 100 billion cosmos crystals, it was because of the huge quantity. In terms of rarity, they were much weaker than the materials recorded on the first scroll. So fast. The avatar that Dongbua Shuang left behind in the Southern Cloud capital received the storage wristband given by his teacher. He checked through the vast amount of materials within. Even though they were relatively low-end, the quantity was huge. Yet he collected them all in a year. This had exceeded the expectations of Dongbua Shuang. Southern Cloud King chuckled. Snow Eagle, you are planning to fortify the entire Feishua city, right? Yes. Dongbo Shuang nodded. How did teacher know? Haha. You should know that I am strong enough to fight against unparalleled existences within the Southern Cloud capital. Southern Cloud King chuckled. Why? It is precisely because I can rely on the arrays across the entire nation to unleash 100% of my strength. Only then can I fight against unparalleled existences. And these materials that you require are what I required in the past to fortify the royal palace. That time, I collected too many and still have many in reserve. I know where to find those that I lack. Hence, it is much easier for me to collect them for you this time. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. Oh right, teacher. Did you spend more than me to construct the royal palace in the past? Dongbo Shuang asked. It should be roughly 10 times what you spent. Southern Cloud King sighed. Even I feel heartache. I have spent practically all my treasures in the past. Dongbo Shuang was speechless. 10 times. These materials of his were worth 100 billion cosmos crystals. The reason why he was willing to spend so much was because he used the top-graded secret treasure of Black Sovereign King as a bargaining chip. The price his teacher paid to fortify the capital was comparable to several top-graded secret treasures. He was indeed the richest Paragon Master. In terms of wealth, even Great Paragon Fui and Skyrending Great Paragon had to stand behind him. Why did you fortify the city? Southern Cloud King looked at Dongbo Shuang. Just in case something unexpected happens. Dongbo Shuang said, even though I am careful in my actions and do not reveal my identity, becoming enemies with others and killing devils, that would only attract many great devils. Who knows if I might reveal my identity one day and implicate the Ying clan. Hence, I have to prepare in advance. Southern Cloud King softly nodded. Since his disciple chose to stand out, there would naturally be a storm coming. If you need my help, just tell me. Southern Cloud King said. Teacher has already helped me a lot. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. That day, he began rebuilding and fortifying the entire Feishua city and the core monarch residence. He had more than 10,000 avatars. Even though the majority of his avatars were weak, it was still easy for him to handle these trivial matters. By fortifying the Feishua city until it was impregnable, he no longer had any worries. Chapter 1176. He sent out over 100 doppelgangers to painstakingly inscribe the array. The hundreds of billions of cosmos crystals were the materials needed to set up the array. Cultivators needed to expend a lot of mental energy to unleash some powerful ultimate moves. However, if the formation was arranged according to the profound mysteries of the ultimate technique, then it would only require an extremely small amount of mental energy to activate. For example, Dongbo Shui Ying's Feishua battle technique, which was one of the 3 killer moves, the multiverse void annihilation, required the 9 doppelgangers to expend more than half of their energy in order to successfully execute it. And if the spirit arrays were successfully laid out, 1 spirit array, 2 spirit arrays, 10 spirit arrays, 100 spirit designs, as long as they coordinated well, 100 formations could be activated at the same time with a single thought. It was equivalent to performing over 100 moves of the multiverse void collapse at the same time. Although each move did not have the support of the void fire lotus, the quantity was enough to cause a qualitative change. Of course, in order to deal with an invincible existence, one couldn't set up all the formations with the same move. Otherwise, the flaws would be too obvious. He had to set up all kinds of moves that needed to go in different directions. Dongbo Shuang had an enormous advantage over Southern Cloud King. Even without the help of the array, his doppelgangers could unleash the battle prowess of the ultimate extremity realm. The many moves of the Feishua battle technique that he had laid out were already extremely powerful. Therefore, by stacking fewer formations, one would be invincible. For instance, Southern Cloud King was much weaker than Dongbo Shuang when he did not rely on external forces. That was why he spent 10 times more materials to fortify the Southern Cloud capital. That was how he could fight against unparalleled existences within the capital. Dongbo Shuang had a strong foundation and strong techniques. Spending 100 billion universe crystals on materials was enough for Dongbo Shuang. No matter how strong he was, what was the point of being stronger than an invincible being in the city? At most, he could only suppress the invincible existences. And the invincible existences could easily leave. Once he left the city, his strength would immediately return to its original state. The entire formation covered the entire city. Because it was big enough, it was easy to set it up. What if these countless spirit designs were to be set up on a weapon? You can even carry it with you? The difficulty immediately soared by thousands of times. Fortunately, the area of effect was large enough, and it was a fixed array. The price of 100 billion universe crystals was enough. Buzz! The 100 doppelgangers had worked hard for more than 10,000 years. Feishua City was filled with mini spirit arrays. The Monarch Mansion also had some core spirit arrays. Dongbo Shuang even had the most important array disk core that he always carried with him. This array disk core was a primer and also the control center. He was the only one who could control the largest and most terrifying formation in Feishua City. Alright, all the spirit designs are working together perfectly. Dongbo Shuang stood in the sky above Feishua City, looking down at the entire city. A sliver of his will quickly seeped into every corner of the city through the countless formations that he had refined and controlled. The formation was hidden within the city and could not be seen with the naked eye, but it was like a vein that permeated everywhere. In Feishua City, he was invincible. His every move could bring forth endless power. I didn't expect that I would succeed in 10,000 years. Dongbo Shuang was elated. These spirit designs had to work together perfectly and not clash with each other. The requirements for one's cultivation realm were also very high. The process of setting them up was also a reflection on his Tao of the Void. Wang. With a thought Dongbo Shuang thought. A total of 30 arrays were activated within Feishua City at the same time. Some of them were similar, and some were for the sake of supporting each other, allowing these arrays to work together perfectly like gears. And at the same time when the arrays were activated, deep within the cloud layer above Feishua City, a faint black maelstrom appeared. This maelstrom tore apart everything. It easily broke through the membrane of the origin world and connected to a higher dimension. Chaotic origin energy permeated in. This black maelstrom gave Dongbo Shuang a feeling that if it engulfed existences at the level of Black Sovereign King would most likely be torn into pieces. In terms of power, it was much stronger than the multivariate void Great Annihilation that he executed by relying on the void fire lotus flower. It could even threaten unparalleled existences head-on. A single thought could produce such power. Dongbo Shuang nodded slightly. Old ancestor. Dongbo Shuang took a step. He arrived at the peak of the tallest mountain within Feishua City. Old Mother Yingshan was currently seated cross-legged at the peak. She was like a dry rock cultivating. She had always been chasing after the Cosmos God realm, yet this step wasn't so easy to take. If one said, reaching the final realm of Cosmos God was when one reached grand perfection in a Tao. It was also the pinnacle of a Tao, and to become a Cosmos God, one had to reach the pinnacle in a single branch of a Tao. This step was similarly difficult. Oh, Snow Eagle, what's the matter? Old Mother Yingshan opened her eyes. She giggled as she looked at Dongbo Shuang. She was extremely satisfied with this descendant of the Yingshan clan. Dongbo Shuang had given her a huge help in her cultivation. Scriptures, external resources, whatever he could help, he had already done it. It's just that stepping into the Cosmos God realm depended more on oneself. Old ancestor, I hope for you to gather all disciples from the Yingshan clan. Those who could come to Feishua City should come to Feishua City. Dongbo Shuang said. Currently, more than half the disciples are in Feishua City. Why do you still want to gather them? Old Mother Yingshan felt puzzled. Currently, Feishua City was the second biggest city in the entire Southern Cloud Nation. There were many living beings here, and the Yingshan clan treated this place as their foundation. More than half the disciples were gathered here. Even Old Mother Yingshan was here. But some of the cities in the past were still preserved. For instance, some primal chaos marquises preferred to rule over a city by themselves. Hence, many of them remained outside. In the future, I'm afraid there will be a huge enemy, Dongbo Shuang said. I'm not confident of protecting them in other places. I'm confident of protecting them in Feishua City. Huge enemy? Old Mother Ying Shan was startled. She did not understand what Dongbo Shuiying's words meant. Old Mother Ying Shan only treated it as Dongbo Shuiying's avatar protecting them in time in Feishua City. Amen. Dongbo Shuiying nodded with a smile. Just in case something unexpected happens. It's best for all disciples from the Yingshan clan to stay in Feishua City for at least 10 trillion years. Alright, I'll arrange it. But I'll have to arrange for people to stay in other cities. Those who aren't willing to come, there's no need to force them too much, right? Old Mother Ying Shan asked. Then it's up to you. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. He said 10 trillion years. It was Dongbo Shuiying who felt that 10 trillion years. No matter what, he should have broken through to the final realm by then. The primal chaos void of his hometown origin world was expanding continuously. It was getting closer and closer to the great apocalypse. The time left for him was not long, but he had fused 8 branches, and the final 9 branches were still fused. He was accumulating and improving his strength. He still had 2 world flowers that he had yet to comprehend. No matter what, he should break through in 10 trillion years. And he had to. If he did not break through, what would happen to his wife and children? Under the orders of Old Mother Ying Shan, the primal chaos experts from the Yingshan clan who received the news were slightly startled. The moment they were implicated, experts at their level would definitely be implicated. Since it was just 10 trillion years, they brought their true bodies to the Feishua City, leaving behind only their incarnations to guard their original cities. Many disciples from the cities controlled by the Yingshan clan came to the Feishua City, leaving behind those who remained to guard their cities. After Dongbo Shuiying arranged everything, he naturally continued cultivating in peace. And at this moment, a huge disturbance happened in the realm Heart Great Land. An old monster called Insect Ancestor rose. He seemed to have enmity with the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, killing several primal chaos experts from both the Fan Clan and Summer Clan. In the end, both the Summer Clan and Fan Clan lost a cosmos god. After that, Ancestor Fan personally acted. Insect Ancestor could not fight against him, and immediately escaped. This was a final realm expert who was hard to deal with. It was hard for unparalleled existences to kill a final realm expert. After Insect Ancestor escaped, he disappeared without a trace. It's just that the Summer Wind Ancient Nation had investigated when exactly did they become enemies with Insect Ancestor. This old monster Insect Ancestor was too mysterious and low profile. The last time he caused a huge disturbance was during the era of Devouring Realm Great Emperor. At that time, he was a great general under Devouring Realm Great Emperor. 8 Silk Island. Haha, this old monster Insect Ancestor has broken through to the final realm. It's normal for him to seek revenge. It's just that this old monster. When did he become enemies with the lowest level primal chaos experts from the Summer Clan and Fan Clan? 8 Silk Island Master sat on his throne. He squinted his eyes and pondered. He has been famous for a long time. Even if he became enemies, it should be with some cosmos gods from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, right? Becoming enemies with primal chaos experts? Strange. 8 Silk Island Master suddenly had a thought. Second brother. At that moment, a tall and thin male rushed over. Big brother. The tall and thin male greeted. Our 8 Silk Island was unlucky during the previous blood sacrifice at the Elegant Peace Valley City. We met an expert who seems to be a final realm expert living in seclusion. 8 Silk Island Master chuckled. Until now, he thought that it was because of bad luck since the Heaven Observation Mirror could only observe certain regions from afar. When Dongbo Shuiying executed the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique and entered the Elegant Peace Valley City, they did not discover it. They even thought that Dongbo Shuiying was already in the Elegant Peace Valley City. I want to refine the essence of blood spirit. Arrange for another blood sacrifice. 8 Silk Island Master grinned. The realm Heart Great Land is vast. It is fine if it was a coincidence once, but it is impossible for it to happen twice. How many final realm experts were there in the entire realm Heart Great Land? How could there be such a coincidence? Rest assured, big brother. I'll definitely arrange it. The tall and thin male added. Chapter 1177. Fujun City was a relatively flourishing city with trillions of citizens. The city master of Fujun City was also a primal chaos expert. His words held enormous weight within the city. The music of musical instruments reverberated within the palace hall. Beauties were dancing. Fujun City master was currently entertaining some guests. They were chatting happily. Hong. Suddenly, an unseen ripple engulfed the entire Fujun City. Not good. Fujun City master's expression changed. He teleported away from the host's seat and appeared high up in the sky. Shwa shwa shwa. Many figures appeared by the side. There were experts under him, and some guests invited to this banquet. They looked at the sky that was completely isolated from the outside world. Furthermore, there was a devil controlling a black bottle in midair. The black bottle was emitting a faint ripple that enveloped every single part of the city. Many teams of devils had already teleported to various locations in Fujun City and began a massacre. As the living beings were being slaughtered, a unique energy would dissipate. This energy was attracted by the unseen ripple into that black bottle. Blood sacrificial magic bottle. It's a blood sacrifice. Including Fujun City master. Everyone's expression changed. Those who dared to sacrifice a city and commit such a heinous act were all led by peerless devils. Those absolute devils were existences that unparalleled existences could not kill. There were many in the entire realm Heart Great Land who wanted to eliminate evil. But those who had the strength to do so were pitifully few. Of the experts who were powerful, only 2 or 3 were willing to take the initiative to eliminate devils. The saddest thing was that even unparalleled existences had many worries. They could not kill some absolute devils. And those devils did not care about the deaths of their subordinates. Instead, they might even enter the ancient nations to wreak havoc. Hence, those who were willing to take the initiative to eliminate devils would give up after considering the lives of their subordinates. As long as it did not affect the order of the entire realm Heart Great Land, they would acquiesce to it. Hence, no one came to deal against these absolute devils. We are doomed. Blood sacrifice. The blood sacrifice is descending. Fujun City master and the others felt despair in their hearts. Some of the guests by the side had several primal chaos experts who had sent their incarnations over. Their true bodies had to remain in their territories. Fujun City master, forgive us for being helpless. AI, this is a devil from 8 Silk Island. We can't stop him. At that moment, some of the guests dissipated their incarnations. Master, master, save me. City Lord, City Lord. There were also some people who came to Fujun City with the guests. But they came with their real bodies and hurriedly asked for help. However, their masters and city lords shook their heads. They were either silent or looking at their disciples. I can't help you. I'm just an ant in the face of 8 Silk Island. Just watch your fate. They didn't even have the courage to leave behind an incarnation to fight the demon. They were afraid of provoking the 8 Silk Island. They just wanted to get as far away from it as possible. No, master. Many cultivators despaired. The billions of living beings in the entire city instantly fell into despair. Even City Lord Fujun felt pained and anxious. City Lord Fujun? Following a sneer, a team of 3 primal chaos devils appeared. Each of them was stronger than Fujun City Master. With the 3 of them working together, Fujun City Master could not resist at all. Please spare my life. City Lord Fujun immediately bowed and begged for mercy. His subordinates and clansmen couldn't help but feel bitter when they saw that their city lord didn't even have the guts to fight and directly begged for mercy. Spare your life. It's not impossible. You just have to listen to our orders and control the arrays of the entire Fujun city to support us. The 3 primal chaos devils revealed a grin. The entire city was ultimately too big, and the living beings here were too weak. Even if they were to kill as they wished, it would take a while. If Fujun City Master were to rely on the arrays, it would be much faster. All right, City Lord Fu Jun gritted his teeth. He felt aggrieved and indignant at betraying the people in the city. It's just that his Dao heart had always been for himself. As long as he survived. So what if his entire clan was destroyed? His clan still had branches in other places. Over a long period, they could still multiply and grow stronger. But if he died, then everything would be for naught. Can I save some of my children? Fu Jun City Master asked. Do you want to die? The leading primal chaos devil's expression sunk. No. Fu Jun City Master did not dare to speak any further. The entire Fu Jun City was in a state of great panic and despair. There was a branch hall of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion, located within the city, that was currently accepting disciples. Being one of the top 10 great religions in Realm Heart Great Land, the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion had permeated through many places. Naturally, there was a branch in a slightly bigger city like the Fu Jun City. Blood sacrifice. The devils from 8 Silk Island are here for the blood sacrifice. The disciples of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion in this branch hall were filled with despair. They immediately sent the news upwards. They were considered the lowest level of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion. They had never thought that Southern Cloud King would come and save them. Even the Southern Cloud King did not dare to do certain things. Devils did not care about anything, but the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion had many things to worry about. The news was sent up. Very soon, it reached Dongbo Shuang, Feishua City. Within the cultivation room, a stick of incense was burning. Its fragrance pervaded the air. A white-robed Dongbo Shuang sat cross-legged there. His expression was calm. He was currently meditating with his eyes closed. Currently, Dongbo Shuang was working hard to fuse all 9 branches to the final realm. He had fused the insights he gained from the Chaotic Origin 7 strikes and some of his Dao of Void techniques to create the Feishua combat technique, of which the 3 great killing techniques were Dongbo Shui Ying's proudest works. Currently, he was attempting to create the 4th killing technique due to the inspiration he gained. This process of creating a killing technique was also a process of accumulating insights. Cultivation was like this. Dripping water could penetrate a stone. Amen. Dongbo Shuang suddenly opened his eyes. They were filled with a strand of anger. Blood sacrifice of Fu Jun City? 8 Silk Island again? One could see the appearance of Dongbo Shuang, who was seated cross-legged, transforming into that of a simple-looking male. His white robe had also changed. His originally concealed aura was now cold and filled with killing intent. Hua! A black crack flashed by the side. Dongbo Shuang had disappeared from the vicinity because Fu Jun City had been sealed by space. Saving him? Ordinary methods could not be used, but the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique could. Fu Jun City. Within an ordinary residence, a black crack flashed in midair. A simple-looking white-robed male appeared. Cries, roars, killing sounds, all sorts of sounds could be heard everywhere in Fu Jun City. Being a great expert in the Dao of Void, Dongbo Shuang was able to sense the situation in every corner of Fu Jun City. Even though it had only been a short period since the start of the blood sacrifice to Dongbo Shuang rushing over, a large number of living beings had already been massacred. Observing the tragic scenes, the killing intent in Dongbo Shuang's eyes could no longer be concealed. 8 Silk Island. Previously, I've wiped out a team of yours. Yet this time, you dare to carry out a blood sacrifice. Dongbo Shuang roared. His roar strangely reverberated across every single corner of Fu Jun City. Dongbo Shuang extended his hand upwards. Hua! Suddenly, an explosion occurred in midair. Several hundred spatial cracks instantly extended outwards. Many spatial cracks had penetrated through more than half the Fu Jun City, sweeping across many teams of devils. Even primal chaos devils were killed instantaneously by the spatial cracks. None could resist at all. No, it's him again. Hearing the roar reverberating across every corner of Fu Jun City, the devils from 8 Silk Island who participated in this operation were horrified. They were clear that under the suppression of the laws in Realm Heart Great Land, most cosmos gods could not even roar across every single corner of the city. and several primal chaos devils controlling the blood sacrificial magic bottle, and the arrays discovered that roaring white-robed male. They could not help but feel their souls trembling. It was him. He was the terrifying expert who wiped out a team of devils from 8 Silk Island previously, in the elegant Peace Valley City. How could there be such a coincidence? He was in Fujun City again this time? Not waiting for them to think further. The terrifying power traversed the void. The distorted spatial cracks instantly pierced through the city and swept past them, annihilating them one by one. And within the city, many civilians who were originally in despair turned mad. They knew what blood sacrifice signified. Even their king who stood high above would tremble in front of a terrifying devil who dared to perform a blood sacrifice. Nobody could save them. Blood sacrifice was a nightmare across the entire realm Heart Great Land. 8 Silk Island. Previously, I wiped out a team of yours, yet this time, you all dare to perform a blood sacrifice. A roar reverberated across every single corner of the city. This roar was filled with terrifying fury. It also frightened many civilians in the city. They trembled when they heard it. But following that, they became wild with joy. Since the other party dared to say such words and challenge the 8 Silk Island, he must be an apex expert in Realm Heart Great Land. Even their king did not dare to say such words. Hope began rising in the hearts of many civilians. Following that, they saw the most beautiful and dazzling scene they had ever seen in their entire lives. Many enormous spatial cracks appeared. They were like huge twisted snakes that pierced through the entire sky. To ordinary civilians, their vision could not see the entire city. They could only see a spatial crack piercing through the sky. All the devils in their vision that seemed terrifying and undefeatable were instantly annihilated before such a frightening spatial crack. Too beautiful. Many civilians remembered this scene. It was a scene they could never forget for their entire lives. When will I be able to have that kind of strength? Many children and youngsters felt hope rising in their hearts. At this moment, there was an expert they worshipped and felt gratitude towards. It was none other than that expert who dared to become enemies with the 8 Silk Island and saved their city. He was also an expert who displayed such a terrifying technique. Chapter 1178. Many civilians in the Fujun city looked upwards. They saw the huge spatial cracks that covered the entire sky above the city, and the devils turning into ashes. Some teared up emotionally. Some even knelt down and bawled. All sorts of reactions could be seen across the entire city. After all, cultivators would temper their Tao heart over a long period of time. It was just that their cultivation heart realm was different. But as long as they lived for a certain period, they would have sufficiently strong obsessions. The stronger the obsessions, the more worries they had, and the more unwilling they would be to die like this. There were too many things they wanted to do. The blood sacrifice had descended. They were truly unwilling, yet helpless. Hence, when Dongbua Shuang saved them from the abyss of nightmares, they naturally reacted differently. It's that terrifying expert again? The cosmos god from 8 Silk Island, who was controlling the ceiling's secret treasure outside the city, watched in horror as the spatial cracks appeared in midair. He immediately wanted to escape. Escape? A cold voice sounded in the mind of this cosmos god. Pung. Following that, an unseen ripple blasted on his body, causing the body of this cosmos god devil to collapse and dissipate. This team of devils was wiped out once again. And on 8 Silk Island, 8 Silk Island Master sat at the highest position. His subordinates were scattered across the palace hall. They were all watching everything happening in the Fujun city through the heaven observation mirror. When Shuang furiously roared out and displayed his large-scale killing technique, Shui Ying's eyes widened. It's him again? The plump body of 8 Silk Island Master trembled in anger. His pair of small eyes stared at the scene displayed on the heaven observation mirror. 8 Silk Island Master was a final realm cosmos god expert. Being an absolute great devil, he had been tyrannical for many years. Even unparalleled existences could not kill him. Hence, it had been a very long time since anyone dared to provoke him. He treated it as a coincidence the previous time, but the same thing happened again. 8 Silk Island Master understood that it was impossible for this to be a coincidence. How vast was the realm heart great land? How could it be so coincidental to meet this expert twice consecutively? Furthermore, both times happened after the blood sacrifice descended for a relatively short period before that mysterious expert acted. And now, it seemed that this mysterious expert should have taken the initiative to rush over after receiving the news. This is slapping my face. 8 Silk Island Master stood up. The palace hall turned silent. They turned to their own island master. Selah, the 8 Silk Island Master suddenly stretched out his hand. His hands seemed to contain a monstrous and terrifying strength as he directly grabbed at the void. Selah. A spatial door was directly torn open, and Fu Junsheng could be seen on the other side of the door. The 8 Silk Island Master's fat body took a step forward and crossed the spatial door, arriving outside Fujun City. Island Master is fighting with that mysterious expert. And the group of Cosmos God Devils from the 8 Silk Island within the palace hall were in chaos. Quite a few of them even revealed anxious looks. That mysterious expert attacked our 8 Silk Islands team last time, and now he's attacking us again. Does he have a grudge against our 8 Silk Island? We don't know him. Perhaps he has a grudge against the Island Lord. If the Island Lord and the mysterious expert are to fight, the Island Lord will naturally not be afraid. However, if the mysterious expert attacks us, we will be in big trouble. These Cosmos God Devils were slightly flustered and anxious. Don't worry. Island Master has set up layers of formations on the island over the years. Even if an invincible existence were to come, Island Master would be able to resist them head-on. As long as we stay on the island, we should be safe. Could it be that we've been hiding on the island all along? As they discussed, they watched the scene outside Fujun City through the sky observation mirror. Outside Fujun City, after killing that Cosmos God Devil, Dongbo Shueying casually collected the secret treasures left behind by that devil, including that sealing secret treasure. At that moment, he felt the space by his side being torn apart. A plump voice took a step across a great distance and entered through this torn spatial door. It's him, the 8 Silk Island Master? Dongbo Shueying came to a realization. Every expert who reached the final realm would have techniques that were unfathomably profound. For instance, Shueying himself had reached the level 2 chaotic origin refinement body. After perfecting it, his fleshy body was comparable to a final realm body cultivator. But his control over his fleshy body was incomparable. Old Monster Stone and the others could instantaneously appear at any location in the origin world. Using their bodies as the center, they could sense the origin world and investigate the entire origin world. These techniques were something Dongbo Shueying did not have. But in terms of the Tao of Void, coupled with the Supreme Secret Importation Chaotic Origin 7 strikes, Dongbo Shueying could execute techniques that many Tao of Void Final Realm experts did not understand. Their utilization of chaotic origin energy was far inferior to Dongbo Shueying. As a result, even though Dongbo Shueying was slightly weaker in the Tao of Void, he could still exert power at the final realm. 8 Silk Island Master cultivates the Tao of Strength. The Tao of Strength is known to be barbaric and tyrannical. It's just that reaching the final realm has all sorts of unfathomable aspects. He is a formidable opponent. Dongbo Shueying thought. In the entire realm Heart Great Land, there were only 2 experts who reached the final realm in the Tao of Strength. One was 8 Silk Island Master, and the other was Apocalyptic God Emperor. Apocalyptic God Emperor had a supreme graded secret treasure. Naturally, he was more powerful. Damn, 8 Silk Island Master had already rushed over, yet he was still a step too late. He could not save that Cosmos God subordinate of his. Even though he had more than 10 Cosmos Gods under him, 2 of them died in a short period of time. How could he not be furious? Are you deliberately targeting me? 8 Silk Island Master stared at Dongbo Shueying. The surrounding void was distorting. Chi chi chi. An unseen ripple spread out with 8 Silk Island Master at the center. It enveloped the surroundings and suppressed and restricted Dongbo Shueying. Clearly he was incomparably furious. And the space surrounding Dongbo Shueying was stacked in layers. 8 Silk Island Master's technique could not touch Dongbo Shueying's body at all. I wonder when did I, 8 Silk Island, become enemies with you? Please tell me so that I can understand it. 8 Silk Island Master's voice was deep. His pair of small eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at Dombo Shuang. Become enemies? This is the first time we meet. Dombo Shuang said. First time? 8 Silk Island Master frowned. Unless my subordinate killed your loved ones and good friends. Not yet. Dombo Shuang shook his head. Then why are you targeting me time and time again? Killing my subordinates? 8 Silk Island Master angrily retorted. Dombo Shuang coldly replied. Why? Since your subordinates dared to conduct a blood sacrifice in a city, why can't I kill them? Just because of the blood sacrifice you killed them? 8 Silk Island Master was filled with disbelief. Right, precisely because of the blood sacrifice. These devils naturally deserve to die. Dombo Shuang indifferently said. 8 Silk Island Master did not dare believe it. On the realm Heart Great Land, there was really such a madman? How many blood sacrifices have been held in the realm Heart Great Land? Why didn't I see you act previously? Instead, you acted during the recent 2 blood sacrifices of my 8 Silk Island? 8 Silk Island Master said with a deep voice. Because I have yet to break through before this. I am not strong enough. Hence, there is naturally no need for me to act. Dombo Shuang answered. It seems my 8 Silk Island is truly lucky. 8 Silk Island Master stared at Dombo Shuang. Since you are so strong, you are definitely not a nameless character in the past. Who exactly are you? Is it necessary to be famous just because you are strong? Dombo Shuang nonchalantly said. 8 Silk Island Master understood. Or perhaps there was a strand of possibility that this was a secluded expert. Of course, the greatest possibility was that this expert should be hiding his identity. After all, daring to do so would mean falling out with their 8 Silk Island. If he revealed his identity, this absolute great devil, 8 Silk Island Master, would naturally take revenge. My subordinates are all devils, and I am their leader. Why don't you kill me? 8 Silk Island Master coldly laughed. Unparalleled existences can't kill you. And I can't kill you for now either. Why waste my energy? Dombo Shuang said. Oh, are you saying that if you could kill me you would? Right. What a pity. Nobody can kill me in the realm Heart Great Land. Both eyes of 8 Silk Island Master were filled with terrifying killing intent. You can't hide your identity before me. 8 Silk Island Master abruptly punched out. His chubby fist smashed out with a loud bang. The surrounding space shattered. An endless shockwave instantly reached his body. There were only so many apex experts in the realm Heart Great Land, and those who cultivated in the Tao of Void could be counted with one's fingers. From his combat technique, one could easily deduce the identity of this mysterious person. 8 Silk Island Master wanted to deduce the identity of the person before him, before letting this mysterious person understand what a devil was. Good timing. Dombo Shuang was filled with fighting spirit. He wanted to break through to the final realm, and he needed to temper himself through battles. He wanted to intimidate all devils under the world, and he needed to prove himself through battles. And the final realm expert, 8 Silk Island Master, was precisely the most suitable target. Chapter 1179. Sacrificing a city was a big deal. Just like in the past when the blood sacrifice took place in the Ardent Fire City, the 3 religious masters from the Black Devil Great Lake would use the Heaven Observation Mirror to observe the situation. Southern Cloud King, Fan Tianchong, and other experts from various superpowers would also use the Heaven Observation Mirror to observe the situation. This time, the blood sacrifice of Fujun City had also attracted the attention of some major powers. For example, the 6 great ancient kingdoms had experts in charge of observing all the major events that happened on the continent. There were also some major powers that had experts spying on them as well. It's that mysterious man. He appeared again and annihilated another team from the 8 Silk Island. Does he have a grudge against the 8 Silk Island Master? Why are you always targeting 8 Silk Island? Yes, there must be enmity between them. It couldn't be so coincidental that he happened to be in the city where the blood sacrifice happened twice in a row. Even if he happened to be there both times, how could it be so cruel both times? Kill everyone from the 8 Silk Island? Everyone watched from afar. As they watched, they discussed. At this moment, everyone was very calm and casual, because they knew that Tao of Void experts were famous for their ability to escape. They believed that this mysterious person would immediately slip away after killing all the devils of the 8 Silk Islands. The 8 Silk Island master is here. It looks like he's really mad with anger. What? He didn't escape? They are fighting. They are fighting. The spectators from the various forces were in an uproar. A battle between 2 ultimate extreme realm experts? This was much rarer than a blood sacrifice. Hurry up and report to the king. Hurry up and report to His Majesty the God Emperor. The entire realm Heart Great Land was alarmed by this. Even unparalleled existences like Apocalyptic God Emperor, Realm Beast King, Moonflower King, and others were personally watching the battle through the Heaven Observation Mirror. Interesting. Realm Beast King sat on his throne with all sorts of delicacies placed in front of him. He was eating with big mouthfuls as he stared at the battle scene displayed on the floating Heaven Observation Mirror. Isn't this mysterious Tao of Void expert afraid of revealing too many moves during the battle? From there, his true identity would be deduced, even if it's an expert from the 6 great ancient kingdoms. With the 8 Silk Island master's devilish temperament, I'm afraid he'll come to the ancient kingdom and wantonly slaughter for revenge. They're really fighting, not afraid of being exposed. Everyone was surprised. For example, when he massacred those weaker demons, he had used a large area of effect attack. It was just a single move, and as long as he was careful, his identity would not be exposed. However, if he were to fight against a final extremity realm expert of the same level, he would expose many of his moves. Is there a grudge between Emperor Feishue and the master of the 8 Silk Islands? The Xia Emperor watched, rather puzzled. If he continues to fight like this, he'll definitely reveal many of his techniques. Although he asked us to keep the news of the Void Fire Lotus a secret, no one will be able to guess that the mysterious person is him, Imperial Monarch Feishue, since he just broke through recently. But in the future, he, Emperor Feishue, couldn't possibly remain idle forever, right? He would also venture into the Realm Heart God Palace and the Broken Teeth Mountain Range. Ultimately, he would have to act. Once I make a move, I'll be easily exposed. The Xia Emperor was puzzled as well. In this world, the number of peerless devils who had the qualifications to rule over a region could be counted on one hand. Every single one of them had a method that even invincible existences couldn't kill. Therefore, even though the invincible existences were powerful, the few great demons were still a headache to deal with. They could not be killed. If they were to shed all pretense of cordiality, the great devil would most likely not care, even if he lost all his subordinates. Devils were usually more selfish. What is younger brother Feishue planning to do? Even if he wants to save those ants, there is no need for him to fight with the master of the 8 Silk Islands, right? If this continues, his identity will eventually be exposed. Skyrending Great Paragon frowned as he looked at the Heaven Observation Mirror. Currently, over at the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, those who knew that Dongbua Shueying was that mysterious person were the 3 unparalleled existences and Skyrending Great Paragon, because Dongbua Shueying had instructed them before. In addition to the previous transaction, the 3 unparalleled existences and Skyrending Great Paragon would naturally not leak this information. But the number of Tao of Void experts in the realm Heart Great Land who had reached the level of the mysterious person could be counted with one's fingers. In the future, the moment Dongbua Shueying used his true identity to fight in some battles, it would be easy for others to deduce his identity. Is he slightly foolish? Or does he not care about the survival of his clan? That's right too. He is someone who reincarnated into another world, and should not have any deep feelings for the Ying clan. Skyrending Great Paragon watched. Various parties were watching the battle through their respective Heaven Observation Mirror. Strangely, the mysterious person did not retreat and took the initiative to fight. Instead, he was at a disadvantage. In a piece of wilderness a trillion kilometers away from Fujun City, Two figures were fighting at an incredibly fast speed. Explode! The extremely plump 8 Silk Island master extended both of his hands. One of his hands formed a sky screen that covered the sky, and the other appeared from deep underground like a great land. One up and one down. At the center of the two vast palms, a collapsing black hole maelstrom was formed. Endless horrifying energy was acting on his body. Myriad untainted techniques. Layers of space stacked around the surface of Dongbo Shui Ying's body. He was doing his best to resist against this destructive energy. Pung pung pung. The layers of space exploded and broke apart the cage, transferring this energy to a higher dimension. This technique still has flaws. How can I perfect it? As Dongbo Shuang fought, he was executing the Feishua combat technique. He was verifying the flaws of many techniques while thinking about how to perfect it. In the past, he would only immerse himself in comprehension. But in a life-and-death battle, especially when he was facing an ultimate technique of another Dao that he did not understand, some of the flaws of his techniques would become more obvious. This would allow him to understand the direction to improve, and this would be of great help to his cultivation. Pung! The remnant energy of the black hole maelstrom acted on Dongbo Shui Ying's body. Dongbo Shui Ying's figure flashed. His entire body was like a thin piece of painting as he silently retreated far away. You only know how to dodge? Is this all you have? The 8 Silk Island master had the upper hand in every aspect. He was suppressing Dongbo Shuang. Dongbo Shuang was clearly at a disadvantage. However, he was not injured at all. Ha ha ha. Dongbo Shuang laughed loudly. He understood that by constantly executing the Feishua combat technique, the other party would suspect that he was not at the final realm. Because up till now, he had yet to execute a technique that contained the profundities of the Tao of Void. He had no choice. Under the situation where he did not rely on external forces, he could not execute it. Without comprehending it, how could he execute it? He had to rely on external forces. Top-graded secret treasure, Void Fire Lotus Flower. After reaching the final realm in the Tao of Void, the next step would be to utilize the chaotic origin energy. I am merely using some crude chaotic origin energy techniques to experiment, yet you can't injure me at all. That's fine too. Since you want me to display my true strength, I'll satisfy you. Dongbo Shui Ying's laughter reverberated in the world. He abruptly punched forward. The Void Fire Lotus Flower he brought with him was activated. This technique was a fusion of that Feishua combat technique and the Void Fire Lotus Flower. That time when he fought against Black Sovereign King, he had carefully comprehended the Void Fire Lotus Flower, allowing him to perfectly fuse the final realm Void Fire Lotus Flower with his Feishua combat technique, increasing his strength by several times. Hong hong hong! When Dongbo Shuang punched out with his fist, an enormous illusory fist appeared. This illusory fist covered half the world. It contained many layers of illusory fists, and was filled with surging chaotic origin energy. Seeing this, the 8 Silk Island master's expression changed. With a low roar, he punched out as well. An ultimate expert in the Tao of Strength couldn't be bothered to dodge. Boom! 2 fists. The 8 Silk Island master's fists contained deep and endless power. As for Dongbo Shui Ying's fist, it felt as if it brought along countless worlds and surging chaotic origin energy. When they collided, the entire world trembled. A pitch-black hole appeared at the point of collision, and one could see a higher world. Boundless surging power spread out in all directions. This terrifying fluctuation was felt by all cosmos gods in the realm Heart Great Land. Pooh! The 8 Silk Island master was sent flying and blood spurted out of his mouth. Countless layers of space constantly attacked his fat body, causing some wounds to appear on his body. Following that, he stopped in midair far away. He looked at the distant white-robed male with shock. This strength was too strong. Don't you want to see my true strength? Haha, I cultivate in the Tao of Void, and I specialize in avatars. This is the strength of an avatar of mine. Dongbo Shui Ying's voice reverberated in the world. One could see many white-robed males appearing around the distant white-robed male. A total of 9 white-robed males were emitting terrifying auras as they stared at 8 Silk Island Master. The expression of 8 Silk Island Master changed. He could not even withstand one but 9. Chapter 1180. At this moment, the superpowers in Realm Heart Great Land were solemn. Even Emperor Summer, Emperor Tsong, Ancestor Fan, Skyrending Great Paragon, and Southern Cloud King, who knew the identity of Dongbua Shuang, felt their hearts trembling. They were watching this battle through various techniques. Just a single avatar of Dongbua Shuang could suppress the final realm expert, 8 Silk Island Master. If 9 great avatars worked together, what level would they reach? Just thinking about it made unparalleled existences feel astonished. The strength of this mysterious person, the blue-robed Great Paragon Fui, was also using the destructive realm teleportation technique to observe the battle from afar. A single clone is already so powerful. If the 9 great clones were to work together perfectly, his strength would probably be able to catch up to me. Great Paragon Fui's heart realm was fluctuating. Final realm experts who did not have any supreme-graded secret treasures might have techniques that were more profound than Great Paragon Fui, but they could not compare to Great Paragon Fui in direct combat. Great Paragon Fui had once suppressed an ancient nation. Even Towering Sky King could only suppress him in the end. And at this moment, Great Paragon Fui had a premonition that the strength of this mysterious person could be close to his. Various parties were watching the battle nervously. They had a premonition that another terrifying existence was about to rise in Realm Heart Great Land. 8 Silk Island Master, are you afraid? Don't you want to see my true strength? Why are you afraid now that I'm using my full strength? The 9 white-robed males lightly extended a finger at the same time. Hua! The vast void in front suddenly flared up when this point was used. The vast space spanning across 1 trillion kilometers split into many tiny spatial pockets. Every tiny spatial pocket contained a bubble. The bubbles at the boundary began collapsing. It was like a chain reaction that rapidly collapsed towards the center. With the consciousness of a cosmos god, it was possible for them to observe this move in detail. But the collapse happened too quickly. In an instance, the power from the collapse of the bubbles was like a flood that converged at the center where 8 Silk Island Master was located. 8 Silk Island Master wanted to escape, yet all the bubbles were moving along with him. He was forever at the center of the bubbles. This move was one of the 3 great killing techniques of Dongbua Shuang, the infinite bubble shadow dissipation. Back then, he had used this move to kill the Dust Brahmin Kingdom King. It was just that he did not rely on the Void Fire Lotus. Although the Void Fire Lotus wasn't visible to the outside world, Dongbua Shuang had brought it with him. He had long activated the Void Fire Lotus with him, which explained why the attack range was so wide, and its power was so terrifying. Damn it! 8 Silk Island Master looked around coldly with his beady eyes. His pride as a final realm expert made him disdainful of running away. If he wanted to escape, even an invincible existence would not be able to stop him. When the Tao of Power reached the ultimate realm, every inch of the origin world was like a toy to him. However, this time he did not block it head-on. Instead, he used a technique to disperse the force. In terms of dispersing force, who could be more powerful than an ultimate expert in the Tao of Strength? The 8 Silk Island Master put his palms together in front of his chest. The area within 100 feet around him became misty, and the grayish power that could be seen rotating with the naked eye could only be seen beyond 100 feet. Boom! All the illusions dissipated. Eventually, the huge bubble surrounding 8 Silk Island Master was destroyed. At the moment of destruction, an unseen ripple directly permeated towards 8 Silk Island Master. Yet it was met with many obstructions. Dongbua Shuang's expression changed slightly. The power of this technique seemed to be constantly being diverted to counter against his own technique. But fortunately, the 9 great avatars relied on the Void Fire Lotus to execute the technique, allowing them to control a sufficient amount of chaotic origin energy. It was sufficiently ferocious. Even though the majority of the energy was diverted away, some still struck the body of 8 Silk Island Master. The expression of 8 Silk Island Master changed slightly. He could feel this impact penetrating deep into his fleshy body. Pooh! Blood began seeping out from his skin. He even spurted out fresh blood from his mouth. 8 Silk Island Master stared at the distant Dongbua Shuang. What a formidable defensive technique. In terms of dispersing force, it is much more profound than my myriad untainted. Dongbo Shuang was filled with admiration. Under the supreme law, all attacks can be executed using different energy. 8 Silk Island Master looked at Dongbo Shuang, solemnly saying, "If I focus on defending, it should be impossible for you to injure me. But who would have thought that you could utilize so much chaotic origin energy and be so ferocious? I have no intention of becoming enemies with you. I only wish for your subordinates to kill less." Dongbo Shuang said. He did not wish to make 8 Silk Island Master mad. The moment he became mad, if 8 Silk Island Master did not care about the lives of his subordinates, he could single-handedly create a huge massacre. This was something Dongbo Shuang did not wish to see. Of course, 8 Silk Island Master did not dare to go overboard. Firstly, many unparalleled existences would not tolerate a massacre that exceeded a certain boundary. Secondly, that mysterious Yuan in Realm Heart Great Land might be happy to see the weak being eaten by the strong. But killing beyond the boundary would infuriate Yuan, and the outcome would be tragic. This was also the reason why the great fiends would send their subordinates to carry out the blood sacrifices, and not take the initiative to do it themselves. Yuan stood at a higher level looking down on the Realm Heart Great Land. Those who dared to provoke Yuan would naturally end up in a miserable state. It's just that Dongbo Shuang was different from Yuan. Yuan might feel that some massacres were normal eliminations, as long as it did not affect the overall order of the Realm Heart Great Land. He would not be willing to interfere in the battles between cultivators. But Dongbo Shuang felt that it was meaningless to talk about the overall order of the Realm Heart Great Land to every weak individual. If the weak died, it would be pointless no matter how well the Realm Heart Great Land developed. If a few died, that would be normal dangers on the path of cultivation. But if a group of ultra-powerful devils massacred the cultivators, it would no longer be tempering them. This was the difference in thinking between Dongbo Shuang and Yuan. Yuan stood high above. He viewed the cultivators as lower life forms. He only needed to breed and produce existences that could jump out of the cage. His thinking was not wrong. Reaching his level, the life forms in the origin world were on 2 different levels compared to him. It was still fine for existences like Yuan, but some of the more cruel and evil chaotic origin life forms felt that it was worth it even if countless life forms were to die in 10 or 100 origin worlds, as long as an ultra-powerful expert could jump out of the cage. Dongbo Shuang was currently very weak. He could not influence Yuan and the others. He could only practice his own Tao. You just wish for fewer massacres? 8 Silk Island Master looked at the white-robed male in front of him. Do you care so much about these ants? So what if trillions of ants die? They have parents, wives and children. They are also fighting hard to cultivate. How can you treat them as ants and kill trillions of them? Dongbo Shuang shook his head. What if my subordinates continue killing? 8 Silk Island Master said. Then I can only continue killing. Dongbo Shuang stared at 8 Silk Island Master. I will kill every single subordinate of yours who dares to act. Unless you, 8 Silk Island Master, personally act, I can't stop you. But if you continue killing when Yuan descends, nobody can save you. The fat on 8 Silk Island Master's face twitched. Yuan, final realm existences and unparalleled existences might seem fearless, yet they were afraid of Yuan. The higher they reached their level, the more they cherished their lives. They desired to take the most important step in their lives and jump out of this cage. What about other organizations? What about Black Devil Great Lake, Western Floating Nation, Devil Cloud Mountain and Sacred Fire City? 8 Silk Island Master continued. Are you going to kill them too? Kill. Dongbo Shuang nodded. Those who dare to massacre will be killed. At this moment, there were too many organizations watching this battle across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. Even though the Heaven Observation Mirror could only see the battle and not hear what was being said, which of the spectators weren't ultra-powerful experts? According to the changes in the lips of Dongbo Shuang and 8 Silk Island Master, as well as the changes in the air flow, they could ascertain the content of the conversation between Dongbo Shuang and the others. Dongbu Ying's words were clearly a notice to all devil organizations across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. Those who dared to massacre would be killed. Chapter 1181. There were experts who fought against the devils in history, but there were none who dared to fight against all the devil organizations in Realm Heart Great Land, and survived for a long period. After all, the stronger one was, the higher one's status would be, and the more worries one would have. The group of apex existences in Realm Heart Great Land, unparalleled existences, final realm experts, and the rare few paragon masters who could survive before unparalleled existences. Amongst them, there were those who were proud and aloof, and those who calmly watched the life and death of others. For instance, amongst unparalleled existences, even Limitless City Master, who cared the most about the weak, only cared about the order. As long as the order was not affected, he would coldly watch everything. Reaching this stage of cultivation, there were very few who treated the most ordinary beings as their own kind, and were willing to protect them. And of these few, they had their clans and organizations to worry about. As a result, none of the apex experts dared to fight against all the devil organizations. Today, Dongbu Ying stood out. It wasn't that he was fearless, because there were some unparalleled existences with a heavy demonic nature. He was afraid of revealing his identity, but Dongbu Ying had already made a plan. His avatar and the void fire lotus flower would be the strength of his disguised identity. This strength was sufficient to intimidate many devil organizations in Realm Heart Great Land. As for his true identity as Monarch Feishue, he could use the chaotic origin weapon, which he would refine in the future. By relying on the chaotic origin weapon, he could execute moves that were more profound than the chaotic origin 7 strikes. It was entirely different from when he disguised his identity. This is only temporary. There isn't a single expert who has reached the final realm in the Tao of Soul in Realm Heart Great Land. If only my Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm reached the final realm, I might have a way to deal against these devils. Dongbu Ying said. Why were the devil organizations so arrogant? Wasn't it because they could not be killed? If he could kill them, he would naturally be able to change the order in Realm Heart Great Land. If he could jump out of the cage and reach another level, he might be able to influence Yuan and Lord Locheng. Dongbu Ying had interacted with Lord Locheng before. He felt that Lord Locheng was compassionate towards the weak. You are thinking too far ahead. My first step is to reach the final realm of the Void Tao. I must do it before my hometown is destroyed. Ying thought. In the depths of the Black Devil Lake, the Yama Demon Cult Master and the other 2 cult masters watched the battle through the sky observation mirror. Humph. The 3 of them had ugly expressions on their faces. Second brother, third brother, this mysterious Tao of Void expert is very tyrannical. The Yama God cult master was no longer as calm as he usually was. He frowned and said, his strength is far above ours. If he's really shameless and massacred any of the teams we sent out, I'm afraid we won't be able to do anything. Even though the Black Devil Great Lake was ranked relatively high amongst the devil organizations in Realm Heart Great Land, the 3 religious masters were all paragon masters. None of them reached the final realm. Even the 8 Silk Island master tolerated it. What can we do? Lower your heads and see how Saint Fire City responds, the green-robed man with a pale face said. Yes. Let's wait and see what happens next. In terms of demonic forces, Saint Fire City was the strongest. This Tao of Void expert is too insolent. He is making us his enemy. Damn. If he dares to reveal his identity, I'll definitely let him know the consequences of provoking us. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Even though the various great devils were incomparably furious, reaching their level, their eyesight was incredibly sharp. They could determine how frightening this mysterious white-robed man was. In addition, they did not know the identity of the white-robed man. If they wanted to threaten him, they could only act against the white-robed man himself, who had the confidence to do so. Hence, after Dongbu Ying announced the matter publicly, not a single great devil took the initiative to act against him. Ha 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 ha. 8 Silk Island master who stood opposite Dongbo Shuang guffawed. Admirable, admirable. I truly admire you. To become enemies with all devil organizations, I truly admire you. Now that you haven't revealed your identity, the devils can't do anything to you. But the moment you do, humph, the outcome will be a nightmare for you. Nightmare? Dongbo Shuang sneered. So what if he revealed his identity? Feishua City had long been impenetrable by him. Unparalleled existences could do nothing to him. But at this moment, two names appeared in the mind of Dongbo Shuang, Emperor Summer and Undying Underworld Emperor. These two were slightly unique. Emperor Summer was famous. He was recognized as the #1 expert in Realm Heart Great Land. Over a long period, everyone knew that Emperor Summer had reached the final realm in both the Tao of Void and Tao of Flame. Wielding a supreme graded secret treasure, the strength he could unleash was one level stronger than other unparalleled existences. Eternal Night Primogenitor was forced to flee after a short exchange, and Undying Underworld Emperor was the #1 expert in Realm Heart Great Land a very long time ago. He was incredibly mysterious. Furthermore, he was famous for being wicked and terrifying. His strength was hard to fathom. It's better for me to remain low profile. Wait until I finish refining my chaotic origin weapon. Then I'll be more confident. Once I reach the final realm, it is hard to say who will be the #1 expert in Realm Heart Great Land. Dongbo Shuang thought. There were only a few supreme graded secret treasures in Realm Heart Great Land. There were even fewer who had supreme secret importation techniques. As for supreme secret importation techniques paired with an appropriate chaotic origin weapon, Dongbo Shuang was not sure if he was the only one who could do so. Even if he was not the only one, supreme secret importation techniques were so rare. There were even fewer who had an appropriate weapon, and the Tao of Void had a huge advantage over other Tao paths, avatars. The Tao of Void was the most closely related to the higher dimensional worlds among all Taos. Hence, only this Tao could allow cultivators to head to other origin worlds without jumping out of the cage. They could absorb the chaotic origin energy to refine their avatars. At the same realm, when many avatars in the Tao of Void worked together, they would naturally be stronger than those in other Tao paths. Of course, what Dongbo Shuang understood were all Tao paths that experts had reached the final realm. And in the soul direction like Mirage, Heart Realm and Soul Fire, none of these Tao paths had reached the final realm. If one reached the final realm in the soul direction, how strong would he be? This was a mystery. South after 8 Silk Island Master sneered, his body turned illusory. The void vaguely distorted, forming cracks before he disappeared. This was his movement technique. It was too difficult to kill a final realm expert. This time, I should be able to attract the vigilance of some devil organizations. As long as there are fewer killings, it would be a success. Dongbo Shuang was about to leave. Wang. Suddenly, a figure condensed in the void. He had a handsome appearance. His black cape was inlaid with golden patterns. He held a scepter in his hand. This scepter was emitting a faint golden light. An unseen pressure engulfed the world and enveloped Dongbo Shuang. Eternal Night Primogenitor. It is Eternal Night Primogenitor. Why did Eternal Night Primogenitor appear? The various organizations in the Realm Heart Great Land were startled. Eternal Night Primogenitor held onto his scepter. He stared coldly at Dongbo Shuang. Black Sovereign King is killed by you, right? Black Sovereign King? Eternal Night Primogenitor must have made a mistake. Dongbo Shuang did not panic. He chuckled. Even with my strength, I am not 100% confident of killing Black Sovereign King. It is even more impossible for me to kill him before you, Primogenitor, could save him in time. In the Realm Heart Great Land, the number of Tao of Void experts who could kill Black Sovereign King can be counted with one's fingers. Eternal Night Primogenitor coldly said. Can this prove that it is me? Dongbo Shuang retorted. You care too much about those ants. Previously, you were intercepted by me for the sake of saving those ants. It's a pity that your avatar has dissipated by suicide. Eternal Night Primogenitor coldly said. There are only a few experts in the Tao of Void who are so powerful. And you are the only one who cares so much about those weak little beings. There is a 90% chance that you are the murderer. Tell me your name." Dongbo Shuang frowned. He did not want to admit it. After all, Eternal Night Primogenitor was someone hard to deal with. "I am Heaven's Will Taoist." Dongbo Shuang chuckled. Heaven's Will Taoist? Eternal Night Primogenitor frowned. There was no such name in the list of Apex experts. Was it because this mysterious person had just risen recently? Or was he deliberately using a fake name? "My heart as the Heaven's Heart, Heaven's Will Taoist," Dongbo Shuang said. No matter how many names you make up, you are still the murderer who killed Black Sovereign King. The scepter in Eternal Night Primogenitor's hand abruptly expanded in light. Boundless light immediately shone on the body of Dongbo Shuang, restricting him. "Eternal Night Primogenitor, you can't stop me." His voice reverberated across the world. Sela, a black crack flashed. Dongbo Shuang had already forced his way in. With the strength of a level 2 chaotic origin refinement body, and the augmentation from the void fire lotus flower world, Eternal Night Primogenitor's domain could not trap him at all. He escaped. Eternal Night Primogenitor watched as the black crack disappeared. He could not help but frown. Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique. He could not chase after him at all. Clearly, it was hard for unparalleled existences to kill someone at this level. The name of Heaven's Will Taoist spread across the entire realm Heart Great Land. Many organizations were discussing about this Heaven's Will Taoist, who dared to threaten all devil organizations, and easily escaped from the face of an unparalleled existence. Eternal Night Primogenitor. The strength of Heaven's Will Taoist was also publicly acknowledged as one of the experts only second to unparalleled existences. Ordinary Final Realm experts were not his opponent. And Dongbo Shuang did not care about the commotion in the outside world. He remained within Feishua City, concentrating on cultivating. He was pondering over the fourth killing technique of his Feishua combat technique that was gradually forming. Chapter 1182. To Dongbo Shuang, it was more important for him to reach the final realm in the Tao of Void as soon as possible. The reason why he chose the title of Heaven's Will Taoist was because he did not wish to implicate the Southern Cloud Nation and the Ying clan. Currently his strength was limited. His deterrence could only make those devils feel apprehensive. If he could reach the final realm, not only would he be able to save the most important people in his hometown, he would even be qualified to fight for the title of #1 expert in Realm Heart Great Land with his chaotic origin weapon. If he reached that level, he would be even more deterrent to the devils. It is still better to rely on strength. Dongbo Shuang was clear of this point. The stronger he was, the greater the responsibility he could bear. The fourth killing technique. Within the monarch residence, by the lakeside beneath a pavilion, a white-robed young man sat cross-legged. There was a flask of warm wine in front of him. He was drinking and contemplating. Many avatars of his were also doing their best to deduce and comprehend. The Void Fire Lotus Flower is a world-related Tao of Void secret treasure. It specializes in unleashing a world domain, or augmenting the body with world energy. Dongbo Shuang thought. The top-graded secret treasure Void Fire Lotus Flower was refined using the rare Fire Domain Spirit Origin as its foundation. The Fire Domain Spirit Origin was similar to the Sea Domain Origin he once obtained. They were both the source of a world. Emperor Summer had fused all sorts of profound mysteries at the final realm in the Tao of Void into it, refining it into a top-graded secret treasure. By augmenting every avatar with world energy, the avatars would be incredibly strong. This was also the method Dongbo Shuang used to conceal his chaotic origin 7 strikes. Unleash a world domain. Within this domain, I am the master. This top-graded secret treasure is most suitable for domain-related techniques. Both eyes of Dongbo Shuang were faintly filled with inscriptions revolving and changing. The fourth killing technique he was about to create was a domain-related killing technique. The first 3 killing techniques, they were all offensive techniques. And when he killed those devils, because he had to cover almost the entire city with a single technique, the surging killing intent had stimulated a spark in the mind of Dongbo Shuang. The fourth killing technique had formed an embryonic form. Every area in all directions is space. Even the higher realm beyond the origin world is also a kind of space. Space is meant to bear the weight of all living beings and contain everything. Domain is also its natural characteristic. Shuang understood this point. He already knew some domain-type techniques. Whether it was the Crimson Cloud domain or the other domain-type techniques he had created, none of them were qualified to be listed in his Feishua combat techniques killer moves. Techniques that could be listed as killing techniques were those that Dongbo Shuang felt were perfect. They were techniques that perfectly fused all the profound mysteries of the chaotic origin 7 strikes together. Their power was sufficiently great, and not any weaker than the chaotic origin 7 strikes. Domain. Dongbo Shuang sat under the pavilion, holding a glass of wine, and suddenly closed his eyes. He thought of the higher world. He had used the great realm-breaching teleportation technique to teleport to other origin worlds. Using just a single line, Shuang carefully sneaked through the higher dimension, filled with endless chaotic origin energy. Even his physical body couldn't enter. Only his soul could travel through the tiny passageway. That feeling of suffocation, the feeling of suppression from the higher dimension, was still fresh in his memory. What Dongbo Shuang wanted to do was to fuse the profound mysteries of the chaotic origin 7 strikes with the Tao of Void, using the chaotic origin energy to recreate the effect of a domain from the higher dimension. Under that domain, the current Dongbo Shuang could only give up on his fleshy body. His soul relied on the great realm-breaching teleportation technique to travel. How frightening was that? As long as he could create a technique that could unleash part of its effect, it would suffice. Wang. Outside the pavilion, the void was slightly trembling. Every single void essence black fog spherical particle was trembling. Every single black fog spherical particle in this huge garden was trembling. Those fishes at the bottom of the lake were protected by an unseen energy, but other regions were not protected at all. For a moment, as Dongbo Ying's thoughts moved, chi, the lake water, the tiles on the pavilion, the flowers and grasses by the shore, the flower beds, the stone road, the soil, everything seemed to remain the same. But in reality, the trembling of the black fog spherical particle had caused their internal structures to shatter. It was only temporarily maintaining their outer appearance. Suddenly, this huge garden was engulfed in absolute darkness. Dongbo Shuang remained seated cross-legged with a cup of wine in his hand. The table, wine flask and praying mat in front of him were all undamaged. In the distant darkness, there were still some fishes being enveloped. As for other regions, they were all engulfed in darkness. Even though this was the case within the huge garden, the outside world did not notice it at all. Dongbo Shuang was currently meditating. He forbade anyone from entering. Hua. Those fishes were brought to the side of Dongbo Shuang. All of them were staring at their surroundings, staring at Dongbo Shuang. Wang. Many cracks appeared in the surrounding dark space. Chaotic origin energy was gushing in. In Feishua City, because there were many arrays supporting it, Dongbo Shuang could fight against unparalleled existences. It was also much easier to test out his techniques here. For instance, he could easily control large amounts of chaotic origin energy now. Pervasive. Dongbo Shuang opened his eyes. Looking at the chaotic origin energy, gushing in from the cracks in the darkness, the chaotic origin energy naturally fused with the void and began suppressing in all directions. Suppress. This suppression technique could even suppress ordinary cosmos gods to death. But clearly this was not enough. What Dongbo Shuang needed was a killing technique. At the very least, it had to make unparalleled existences feel slightly troublesome. If it could not affect unparalleled existences, then this technique would be meaningless. Currently, I have barely formed an embryonic form. I still have to perfect it. Along with all sorts of thoughts in his mind, the chaotic origin energy, within this huge garden, was constantly fusing with the void. He experimented for half a month or so. The garden regained its calmness, the chaotic origin energy retreated, and the void regained its normalcy. The light from the outside world shone upon this place. The stone path, soil, flowers and grass, lake water, and even the pavilion were born from nothingness. They descended to their original positions. Even those fishes that had always been by the side of Dongbo Shueing were thrown back into the lake. Ding dong. The fishes jumped out of the lake. They looked around before diving back into the lake to their heart's content. Dongbo Shueing poured himself a cup of wine. Everything in this garden was ordinary. To a Tao of Mirage Cosmos God, he could easily create them from the illusory. Think again. He discovered all sorts of problems during the previous half a month of experimentation. He still had to study and perfect it. As Dongbo Shueing was researching and perfecting the fourth killing technique, those devils in Realm Heart Great Land were trembling in fear, especially the cosmos gods at the highest level. All of them cherished their lives, since Heaven's Will Taoist publicly declared that even the 8 Silk Island Master was weaker than him. Who dared to offend such an absolute ruthless person? Is he planning on using his strength to threaten all devils in the entire Realm Heart Great Land? Is he really that crazy? Even those devils did not dare believe it. Cosmos God devils were astute with information. They knew of the existence of Heaven's Will Taoist and the threat he posed. But the Realm Heart Great Land was too big. Many devils at the Primal Chaos Realm had a huge backing. Otherwise, many of them did not know about Heaven's Will Taoist. Time passed. 3 million years after the battle between Heaven's Will Taoist and the 8 Silk Island Master. Ha ha ha, the crazier your hatred is, the better it is. Ha ha ha, this forefather wants you to hate me, ha ha ha. A red-robed old man was currently in an Eden treasure world. There were many souls filled with hatred within. Trillions of souls were howling with resentment. Some experts broke free from their restraints and charged at the red-robed old man time and time again. Nevertheless, the red-robed old man was a primal chaos expert. How could these souls at the Unity Realm threaten him? Humph! A black crack flashed. A white-robed male appeared within this Eden treasure world. Being the owner of this Eden treasure, the red-robed old man could not help but jump in fright. My Eden treasure? Others could enter too. When this white-robed male looked at him, the red-robed old man felt his soul solidifying. Hung. Following that, the red-robed old man's body turned into powder. Damn it! Dongbo Shueing swept his gaze across the surrounding souls. Many of these souls were originally filled with hatred, but after the death of the red-robed old man, their hatred dissipated. Time to send all of you out. Dongbo Shueing sent a thought. Many souls were teleported out. There were arrays restricting them within this Eden treasure, forcing them to maintain their soul bodies. And the weakest of them were true gods. Their souls could rapidly recover by absorbing the world energy. 9 million years after the battle between Heaven's Will Taoist and the 8 Silk Island Master. Jiayu, are you regretting it now? Today your entire clan, your entire city, all living beings shall die. An old devil who was emitting a sky-piercing killing intent stood in midair. He was incomparably arrogant. A violet-robed girl watched this scene in despair. In the past, she offended this old devil by saving him. Now that this old devil had become stronger, he came to take revenge? Amen. The violet-robed girl, Jiayu City Master, watched with astonishment as an enormous white palm appeared from nothingness. That palm directly pressed down, turning that originally arrogant old devil into powder, before he could escape. As time passed, it was proven that what Heaven's Will Taoist said wasn't false. Those who dared to wreak havoc would be killed without mercy the moment they were discovered. This made many true Cosmos God great devils feel fear in their hearts. They did not dare to act recklessly for a short period. Just bear with it. This Heaven's Will Taoist is so arrogant. He will definitely not have a good ending. Once his identity is exposed, he will no regret. Let us bear with it for now. We will temporarily not fight against him. It is impossible for anyone to suppress us forever in this Realm Heart Great Land. These devils were patient too. They believed that it was impossible for Heaven's Will Taoist to be so arrogant and tyrannical. To Dongbo Shueing, it was merely a matter of acting, after receiving the news midway through his cultivation. After that, he would return and focus on his cultivation. after fighting with the 8 Silk Island Master for more than 50 million years. Ha 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 ha. Within the monarch residence, within a pavilion by the lake, Dongbo Shueing laughed out loud. His laughter was bright and cheerful. Chapter 1183. Dongbo Shueing extended his palm. His palm extended out, causing a maelstrom to form within. This maelstrom contained chaotic origin energy. This maelstrom was revolving. It was like a tidal wave that was constantly pushing and pushing. Thousands of waves were moving. There were even undercurrents moving within. Many forces were either pushing, pulling, or squeezing. It was Dongbo Shueing doing his best to imitate his experience of traveling through a higher dimension. This was already the limit of his comprehension of the chaotic origin 7 strikes, and the Tao of Void. It was a move he was truly satisfied with. Even though he had gained another great killing move, a domain-type killing technique that was incredibly helpful during battles, Dongbo Shueing was happy because he could feel his understanding of the Tao of Void deepening. The improvement of the realm sounded mysterious. In reality, he could feel it strongly. He was just a step away from the final realm, after fusing 8 branches together. But precisely because of this gap, the final realm felt like a flower in a fog. It was a blur. Every time he improved his realm, some of the fog would dissipate. He allowed himself to see a part of it clearly. Now that I've succeeded in cultivating this move, I feel my improvement is huge. I'm another step closer to the final realm. It's just that I've spent this period of time on cultivating this move. It will be hard for me to improve it within a short period. But I can't waste time like this. Dongbo Shueing thought. If he cultivated normally, he would break through after a long period of accumulation. After that, he would need a longer period of accumulation. Like breaking through to the final realm, it was destined to be difficult. He had to accumulate and break through time after time. Only when he broke through to an incomparably dense stage would he naturally reach the final realm. By then, the Tao of Void would no longer be a mystery to him. Even Southern Cloud King, Great Paragon Fui, and many other geniuses were stuck at the bottleneck. They could not reach the final realm. Even though Dongbo Shueing was incredibly talented, it was incredibly difficult for him to reach the final realm before his hometown origin world was destroyed. I should use another world flower, Dongbo Shueing thought. Now that he recalled it, it was extravagant to use world flowers consecutively in the realm Heart God Palace. But looking at the outcome, he obtained the supreme secret importation technique, Chaotic Origin 7 Strikes. It was worth it. After all, this was a supreme secret technique that allowed him to have an extremely deep understanding of the Void Tao. After all, the fusion of the Tao of Void and chaotic origin energy was an extremely complex application of the Tao of Void. In his hometown, a world flower bloomed, and Dongbo Shueing entered it to experience everything. While Dongbo Shueing was cultivating, he would occasionally come out to slay demons. As long as there were devils who dared to slaughter and cause trouble, Dongbo Shueing would not show any mercy. Within the Myriad Realm's ancient country, within a luxurious mansion in a huge city, within an underground palace, the handsome and evil-looking young man sat cross-legged with a black bottle in front of him. He took a deep breath, and a large number of souls flew out from the black bottle and were sucked into his mouth. Yes, I'm about to master the 3 calamities fire. The handsome youth revealed a smile. He gently opened his mouth and spat out dark flames that were suffused with a bloody and evil aura. It's all because of Heaven's will Taoist. He has threatened everyone, forcing me to be so careful in collecting these souls. My realm is sufficient, and I'm just lacking the souls. The eyes of the handsome and evil-looking young man were filled with a strand of anger. Even though he was furious, he had no other choice. Heaven's will Taoist was too powerful. Even the old ancestor of his clan might be stronger than Heaven's will Taoist, but it was hard for him to kill the other party. His teacher had already given him a strict order for him to temporarily endure, but his desire to become stronger forced him to carefully and stealthily collect the souls. He'll definitely not be able to last long if he is so arrogant. In the future, he won't have a good ending. The handsome and evil-looking young man and many other devils hated that Heavens will Daoist. It's just that they did not dare to become enemies with him. A black crack flashed. A white-robed male appeared within this underground palace. The handsome and evil-looking young man felt as if a bucket of ice water was poured on his head when he saw the white-robed male. He stared in a daze. His heart was trembling, and his legs were soft. His expression paled. Heaven's will. The handsome and evil-looking young man was horrified. Heavens will Daoist. A single person who suppressed all devil organizations in Realm Heart Great Land. He even defeated the final Realm Great Devil, 8 Silk Island Master. Black Sovereign King, from the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation, seemed to have fallen in his hands. Even though this handsome and evil-looking young man was filled with resentment and killing intent, the moment he saw Heavens will Daoist, all his killing intent disappeared. What remained was terror. That was too frightening. How could he, a mere 9th-level expert, deal against such an absolute overlord? Who would have thought that you have harmed so many sentient beings? Dongbo Shuang glanced at that black jade bottle. There were billions of souls within, and it was unknown how many had been harmed by him. It's just that his method was too secretive. Even the intelligence system of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion had just found out about it. It was a Unity Realm disciple from the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion who discovered the truth after his true love was killed. I'm from the Blaze clan. You can't kill me. The handsome and evil-looking young man shouted. Die! A cold light flashed in the eyes of Dongbo Shuang. The handsome and evil-looking young man widened his eyes. They were filled with terror, regret, and unwillingness. He did not want to die. He really did not want to die. He still wanted to become a cosmos god. Being a disciple of the Blaze clan, he had not had enough of those carefree days where he wreaked havoc in all directions. Pung! His body directly turned into powder. AI. Dongbo Shuang looked at that black jade bottle before softly sighing. He waved his hand before keeping the jade bottle. This was the territory of the Blaze clan. If he wanted to release these pitiful people, it was better for him to leave the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation. Just a breath later, Heavens will Daoist. A furious roar reverberated above this city. The Blaze clan was a clan created by an unparalleled existence. They were different from the natives of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. The 5 ancestors of the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation relied on the Realm Heart Order to reincarnate into this world. Only 2 great clans were formed here. The Blaze clan was one of the 2 great clans in the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation. Such a power. Yet it allowed Heavens will Daoist to kill his way into the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation and kill their core disciples? Wasn't this provoking the entire Blaze clan? The disciples of the Blaze clan have slaughtered 1 trillion sentient beings. Since they are devils, I'll kill them all. A voice reverberated across the entire city. Following that, Heavens will Daoist left. Time would prove. Heavens will Daoist was indeed savage. No matter who he was, no matter how great his background was, those who dared to wreak havoc would all be killed. He killed so many core disciples from various superpowers that they trembled. In the past, they were vicious and merciless. Sometimes, for the sake of entertainment, they would bring disaster to many others. Furthermore, just because they were sparring and testing their techniques, they would implicate many weaker beings. To them, they did not care about it. It was just trampling on some ants. And now, they had received a strict order. In addition to Heavens will Daoist killing his way to fame, some of the disciples from the great clans in the 6 great ancient nations were much more restrained. Southern Cloud Capital. Teacher. Dongbo Shuang came to visit Southern Cloud King. Southern Cloud King passed a silver wristband over with a smile. Snow Eagle, these rare treasures that you want might not be hard to find, but there are too many of them. I spent 80 million years before I managed to collect them all. It's very fast. It's much faster than what I expected. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. He was clear that these rare treasures were easier to obtain as compared to the chaotic origin sand. Ultimately, they were too many, and his network could not be compared to his teacher. Furthermore, before he sold the top-graded secret treasures, unless he exchanged for many treasures in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, He would not be able to take out enough cosmos crystals to purchase them. The chaotic origin sand was obtained from trading with the summer wind ancient nation. As for the other materials, Dongbo Shuang was not too willing to collect them from there. Even though he did not have the refinement technique, and he believed that Emperor Summer and the others could not discern anything from the list of materials, he did not wish to cause any trouble. Finally, everything is gathered. Holding on to the silver wristband, he sensed all the materials within. After inspecting them, Dongbo Shuang revealed a grin. Everything was gathered. He could finally begin refining the chaotic origin weapon. Snow Eagle. Southern Cloud King said, "You have been quite vigilant in killing those devils, using the identity of Heaven's will Taoist. But this way, you will eventually form more and more enmity. You even did not let off disciples from great clans and ancient nations. It is fine if your identity isn't exposed, but the moment it is, you will become the enemy of the entire world." How can it be considered as becoming the enemy of the entire world? I can only say that all devils are my enemies. Dongbo Shuang indifferently chuckled. So what if I have more enemies? Even if there are 10 million of them, I will still go forward. Furthermore, devils know how to be afraid. Once I kill them until they are afraid, they will no longer dare to do evil. Southern Cloud King softly nodded. He was slightly apprehensive about the danger his disciple was facing, but his disciple was clearly very determined. And now, the devils in Realm Heart Great Land had indeed been threatened by a single person. Heaven's will Taoist. You have to be careful. Over the years, there has never been anyone in Realm Heart Great Land who could frighten them forever. Southern Cloud King reminded, "Teacher, you don't have to worry, even though nobody has done it in the past." Dongbo Shuang chuckled. But a path is meant for humans to walk on. Eventually, there will be someone who walks on this path. Asterisk asterisk. Chapter 1184. I want this vast origin world to end the blood sacrifice, and for the great massacres to disappear from the great land. Those who dare to engage in great massacres will be exterminated. Perhaps I might not be able to deal against those few great devils, but I am still moving forward on this path. Who knows, maybe one day, I might be able to deal against them. Dongbo Shuang chuckled at his teacher. Southern Cloud King looked at the smile of his disciple. Suddenly, he understood the difference between them. He and an absolute majority of cultivators were more concerned about protecting themselves, because only by living could they hope to climb to the peak of the great Tao. As for his disciple, his Tao heart was like a blade. Even if there was no path in front of him, he would still carve out a path. He was willing to open up a path for the weaker beings. Perhaps such perseverance, determination, and heart realm was the reason why his disciple could improve so quickly. I'm afraid I have to jump out of this cage if I want to deal against those great devils. Southern Cloud King said, maybe one day, I might be able to jump out? Which of us cultivators doesn't want to jump out of this cage? Dongbo Shuang chuckled. Teacher, this disciple will first take his leave. He still had to hurry back and refine the weapon. The refinement of the chaotic origin weapon could not be delayed. That day, Feishua City, Monarch Residence, in a hidden underground secret room. Hong Long Long, the door to the secret room closed. Many inscriptions appeared on it. The entire Feishua City had been fortified by Dongbo Shuang, and the refinement of the chaotic origin weapon was the most important and required the cultivator to be careful. A white-robed Dongbo Shuang sat cross-legged on a praying mat in the meditation room. With a wave of his hand, an incense stick was lit. The fragrance pervaded the entire meditation room. First, he calmed his heart. In his mind, the refinement process of the chaotic origin 7 strikes appeared. Given his current realm, the refinement process was not difficult. It was just that it was complicated. Clearly, Yuan had considered bestowing it to his juniors, so that they could refine the chaotic origin weapon. He had already broken down the refinement process into more than 10,000 different stages, making every stage much easier. I reckon that I'll be able to cultivate it within 10 billion years. Even though the process is complicated, it's not that difficult. All I need to do is to arrange for a clone to cultivate it. Dongbo Shuang thought to himself. Although he could make his 9 doppelgangers maintain their near-perfect strength, it was still impossible for him to do so. However, forging artifacts could not be rushed. He had to take it one step at a time. One avatar was enough. Hua. All the materials were prepared. With a thought, Dongbo Shuang caused 16 materials to appear. Among them were unique fire seeds, liquids, flowers. Those liquids, flowers and powders were constantly fusing into the fire seed. Every step Dongbo Shuang executed all sorts of profound mysteries of the array, guiding the chaotic origin energy into the fire seed, causing the power of the fire seed to become stronger and stronger, until it reached an unfathomable stage. This was merely the initial fire. It was not easy to melt the chaotic origin sand. Many devils in Realm Heart Great Land were waiting for the day when the identity of Heaven's Will Taoist was revealed. Little did they know. And this Heaven's Will Taoist was currently refining a terrifying chaotic origin weapon. Time passed. In the following period, even though an avatar of Dongbo Shuang was carefully refining the weapon, the other avatars continued cultivating as usual. Previously, he had comprehended a world flower, allowing him to gain a new understanding of the Tao of Void. Many inspirations appeared, and he continued absorbing them, increasing his accumulations. At the same time, whenever a calamity occurred in Realm Heart Great Land, he would act using the identity of Heaven's Will Taoist. Even though he had publicly announced that some disciples from great clans in the 6 great ancient nations had been restricted, Realm Heart Great Land was ultimately too big. Who knows? A devil might rise in a certain corner. After all, over the long period of cultivation, there were quite a few who walked on the path of evil. Because the path of evil allowed one to plunder and snatch large amounts of resources. There were also some cultivation techniques that used the souls of others. These plundering techniques were more sinister, yet they were faster. Hence, Realm Heart Great Land being a vast origin world naturally had many devils. There were too many weak devils without any background. Hence, they had never heard of the name Heaven's Will Taoist. As for those without any background or were weak, their destructive power was not weak at all. It is your honor to die for this sect, master. An old demon sat on a throne and looked at the countless cultivators who had been captured. Suddenly, a white-robed male walked out from the void. He stared coldly at this old devil, wantonly wreaking havoc on countless sentient beings. You deserve death. When the old devil saw Dongbo Shuang appear, he felt his heart trembling. Even though he did not recognize Heaven's Will Taoist, the other party emitted a horrifying suppression that permeated through the void, causing the old devil to feel extreme terror. He understood the gap between the two parties was huge. The old devil directly slid down from his throne and knelt down. He immediately begged for mercy. Spare me, Senior, spare me. I was wrong. I'll change. I'm willing to serve Senior. This old devil had cultivated to his current stage, and he was already used to lowering his head in front of experts. The cultivators below could not help but feel worried when they saw the old devil kneeling down and begging for mercy. They were worried that the expert would not kill the devil and not save them. Serve me? You think you are qualified? Dongbo Shuang coldly snorted. Spatial ripples pressed over. The old devil's body soundlessly dissipated. Dongbo Shuang turned towards the cultivators below. He waved his hand. Everyone go and live. He directly teleported to the entrance of a huge city, killing devils time after time, saving countless sentient beings. Even though many devils were gritting their teeth in hatred, there were also many who were grateful to this senior. It's good that you are alive. It's good that you are alive. Grandfather, it's a white-robed man who saved us. Amen, your parents have died. If you were to meet with misfortune, I would not know what I should do. A cultivator hugged a child and muttered to himself. He was filled with gratitude towards that savior. We survived. There were also Tao companions who hugged each other and cried tears of joy after surviving the calamity. This life-saving grace is something I'll never forget. There were also many cultivators who remembered this kindness. There were many who were grateful to Dongbo Shuang. There was even a little lass with a mysterious origin. Princess, Monarch has already mentioned that this realm Heart Great Land is dangerous, and it is forbidden to barge in recklessly. It's better for you to sneak out. Look, you met a great devil the moment you came out. If you were to die in the hands of that devil, how sad would Monarch be? A black-robed man muttered. His voice was filled with lingering fear. A lass by the side looked up towards the distant horizon. I know I'm wrong. Uncle Chio, who is that person who saved me? According to the intelligence we obtained in the realm Heart Great Land, that white-robed man is an expert who intimidated all devils in the entire realm Heart Great Land by himself. He is called Heaven's Will Taoist, the black-robed man said. This time, it's all thanks to Heaven's Will Taoist. Otherwise, Heaven's Will Taoist? The eyes of the lass brightened. Let's go, let's hurry back, the black-robed man said. Where does Heaven's Will Taoist live? I want to see, the lass said. The identity of Heaven's Will Taoist is a mystery. How would I know where he is? The black-robed man said. You guys help me investigate. I want to find him. The lass said. Princess, it's impossible to investigate. Heaven's Will Taoist offended all devils in the entire realm Heart Great Land by doing such a thing. He wouldn't dare to reveal his identity, so how could I find him? The black-robed man said. Just as he finished speaking, starlight condensed by the side into a male wearing a luxurious starlight robe. Monarch. This black-robed man respectfully bowed. The starlight-robed male looked at his daughter. He felt some lingering fear. He angrily rebuked. You are truly naughty. You escaped and are afraid of being discovered by me. You didn't even bring along your communication treasure. You almost lost your life. Aren't I fine? The lass lowered her head and muttered. You are becoming more daring. It seems I have to watch you more strictly. The starlight-robed male grabbed the little hand of the lass. Go. Father, I wish to meet Heaven's Will Taoist. The lass shouted out. The starlight-robed male was startled. He indifferently said, I'll arrange for my subordinates to investigate in the realm Heart Great Land. The moment I know who Heaven's Will Taoist is, I'll bring you over to pay him a visit. After all, you owe him your life. Saying that, he brought his daughter and his subordinates with him before disappearing. Many lives were saved, and many were grateful to Heaven's Will Taoist. And Dongbua Shuang felt happy and satisfied. Days passed just like that. Chapter 1185. Within a luxurious palace hall, a handsome young man wearing a luxurious golden robe and a crown casually sat on the host's seat. There was also an enchanting black muslin-robed girl sitting by the side. She was feeding wine to the handsome young man. Below, there were two guests seated on each side. They were both served by beauties. One of the guests was a short and plump black-robed old man. He was the city master of the #1 gathering ground for devils across the entire realm Heart Great Land, the Sacred Fire City. Being a final realm expert, the Sacred Fire City was publicly recognized as the #1 gathering ground for devils. This was also because his life and death brother was an unparalleled existence, Iron Eagle Palace Master. In the entire realm Heart Great Land, other than the 6 great ancient nations and undying underworld emperor, there were 2 other unparalleled existences. Not all unparalleled existences chose to build an ancient nation. Iron Eagle Palace Master was one of them. He could be said to be the most low-profile unparalleled existences. He did not preach, nor did he command any superpowers. Instead, he cultivated within his Iron Eagle Palace. But with such a life and death brother, in addition to Sacred Fire City Master being a final realm expert, Sacred Fire City was recognized as the #1 gathering ground for devils. The other was a humanoid flying insect. He was covered in black scales and had a pair of crystalline wings on his back. There were 2 soft feelers protruding from his forehead. He was the even more mysterious insect ancestor. Amen. What's the occasion today? Another guest has arrived? The luxurious golden-robed handsome young man sitting on the host's seat chuckled. Light converged within the palace hall. It condensed into a black-cloaked male with golden patterns. His face was white, yet his eyes were cold. He was none other than one of the two great unparalleled existences from the Primogenita ancient nation, Eternal Night Primogenitor. Eternal Night, you are here. The luxurious golden-robed handsome young man chuckled. He lightly waved his hand, causing another table to appear. Come, come, come. I am currently entertaining Sacred Fire City Master and Insect Ancestor. What a coincidence that you came. Have a taste of the delicacies I prepared. Eternal Night Primogenitor swept his gaze across. Sacred Fire City Master? Insect Ancestor? They were merely two final realm experts. Neither of them had any supreme-graded secret treasures. Underworld Emperor. Eternal Night Primogenitor nonchalantly said, "We have to change our deal in the past." Change? What is there to change? Undying Underworld Emperor remained leaning on the beauty by his side. He was looking downwards with a grin. You asked for 3 final realm vengeful spirits. Originally, I could still nurture these vengeful spirits after spending some time. But now, Heaven's Will Daoist is too crazy. As long as there are any calamities happening in the realm Heart Great Land, he would act and kill all devils mercilessly. This way, it will be difficult to fulfill your request, Emperor Hades. Eternal Night Primogenitor said. I feel that an ultimate vengeful spirit is enough. Vengeful spirits. It was the soul that was filled with endless resentment, causing the soul to undergo some strange changes. The final realm vengeful spirit represented a legend. This vengeful spirit had an unseen hatred and killing intent that was sufficient to kill ordinary primal chaos experts. But this was the end. Even a stronger resentful spirit could not defeat a cosmos god. Therefore, vengeful spirits were just a small path that wasn't worth mentioning. But when Undying Underworld Emperor asked for it, Eternal Night Primogenitor still negotiated the deal in the past. After all, he was the leader of an ancient nation, and it was much more convenient for him to do such things as compared to Undying Underworld Emperor, who had left the realm Heart Great Land for a long time. You are one of the 2 great primogenitors of the Primogenita ancient nation, yet you can't even do this? Undying Underworld Emperor shook his head. That Heaven's Will Daoist would still act to obstruct me, even if I were to arrange such matters in my ancient country. Eternal Night Primogenitor shook his head. To nurture an ultimate vengeful spirit, one needs a vast amount of souls. Undying Underworld Emperor looked down at Eternal Night Primogenitor with a chuckle. Eternal Night Primogenitor's expression changed slightly. He could sense the sarcasm contained in the smile of Undying Underworld Emperor. With how arrogant Eternal Night Primogenitor was, who in the entire realm Heart Great Land dared to look down on him? Yongyi, the deal between you and me is set. The oath we made earlier is also set. I've already given you 10% of the benefits you deserve. The handsome face of Undying Underworld Emperor turned cold. His eyes were filled with cold light. Why? Now you say you can't do it? Change the deal? Do you think I'm easy to talk to? An invisible aura of death spread out and filled the entire hall. The expressions of Insect Ancestor and Sacred Fire City Master changed slightly, and Eternal Night Primogenitor, who was directly targeted, felt his heart tightening under the terrifying aura of death. He even felt a vague feeling of being suppressed by a higher dimension. This Undying Underworld Emperor has once suppressed many parties to obtain the opportunity to step on the path to become a chaotic origin life form. After a long time, he finally returned. It seems he failed, but I feel that he has become much stronger. Eternal Night Primogenitor felt frustrated inwardly. A long time ago, Eternal Night Primogenitor was clear of the strength of Undying Underworld Emperor. That time, he was the strongest in Realm Heart Great Land, and should not be any weaker than the current Emperor Summer. As for now, Eternal Night Primogenitor could not figure it out. He only felt that the techniques of Undying Underworld Emperor were much more profound than in the past. Underworld Emperor, I dare to bully others, but why would I dare to bully you? You should know that Heaven's Will Daoist is hard to deal with. He isn't that strong, but killing him is hard. He is also focused on causing destruction. It is difficult to gather 3 final realm vengeful spirits in a short period of time. Eternal Night Primogenitor said, if it is difficult, just do it. You are the one who agreed to the oath in the past, and you have to carry it out. It is fine if you violate the oath, but you just have to bear the consequences. Undying Underworld Emperor looked down with a sneer. Eternal Night Primogenitor went silent for a breath of time before replying, "All right." Following that, his figure dissipated. Humph. Undying Underworld Emperor sneered. Insect Ancestor and Sacred Fire City Master exchanged glances. They did not say anything even though they were not afraid of unparalleled existences. But they would not participate in the matters of unparalleled existences. Damn. Eternal Night Primogenitor was truly furious. How long had it been since someone dared to disregard him? But Eternal Night Primogenitor understood that since Emperor Summer could injure him in a short period, that unfathomable Undying Underworld Emperor should be stronger than Emperor Summer. This was also the reason why Eternal Night Primogenitor was wary of him. But Eternal Night Primogenitor and Extreme Night Primogenitor had techniques that complemented each other. When the two of them worked together, they dared to fight against the three great unparalleled existences from Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Hence, if they truly fell out, he was confident of dealing against Undying Underworld Emperor. It's just that they had sworn an oath in the past. He was even the one who asked for it. He was afraid that Undying Underworld Emperor would not keep his promise. But now the oath had been made. Undying Underworld Emperor did not agree to it. If he were to go against the oath, it would greatly affect his Tao heart, and it would be impossible for him to jump out of the cage. Let's wait and see. Eternal Night Primogenitor thought. Final Realm Resentment Spirit? This time, I'll personally watch over him in the dark. Heavens will Taoist? Since he dares to interfere, I'll definitely find out who you are. Eternal Night Primogenitor began moving. He sent out the cosmos gods who had avatars under him to collect the souls. He was not as arrogant as before, where he directly nurtured the souls in the 19 cities. Even though it was more effective, it was easier for Heavens will Taoist to obstruct him. This time, it was better to collect all the souls before slowly executing his technique. Perhaps the number of souls required might be greater, but as long as it did not affect the order of the entire realm Heart Great Land, that Yuan did not care about the competition between the ants within the cage. Large amounts of souls were being collected. Eternal Night Primogenitor paid special attention to it in the dark. In the blink of an eye, more than 100 million years had passed. Because he did not wish to affect the order of the world, and neither did he wish to be discovered by Heavens will Taoist. Even though Eternal Night Primogenitor planned to deal against Heavens will Taoist, it would be better if he could not be discovered. You all deserve death for harming so many sentient beings. In the night sky, a white-robed male appeared above a vast city. He was filled with anger. His voice boomed across the world. With a wave of his hand, a terrifying spatial crack descended from the sky and blasted against the body of a distant cosmos god. It directly turned that cosmos god into powder. This was merely an ordinary cosmos god that Eternal Night Primogenitor had specially sought for avatars. Without a clone, even Black Sovereign King was dead. Eternal Night Primogenitor's subordinates were not willing to take the risk. Eternal Night Primogenitor was not willing to let his most important subordinates take the risk. Amen. Within this vast city, at the peak of a mountain peak, Eternal Night Primogenitor, who was wearing a black cape with golden patterns, was currently looking at the distant white-robed male. Dongbo Shuang acted too quickly. The moment he descended, he sent out an ultra-long distance killing technique. Eternal Night Primogenitor did not have the time to stop him, but it was merely an avatar of his subordinate. So what if he lost? You really came to spoil my plans. I am already very careful and concealed myself. I didn't provoke you, yet you still came to provoke me? Eternal Night Primogenitor felt his anger skyrocketing. Chapter 1186. Dongbo Shuang originally had an avatar carefully refining the chaotic origin weapon. His other avatars were also cultivating in hopes of reaching the final realm as soon as possible. And according to the intelligence system of the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion, he had casually sent an avatar over to kill the devil. Before killing the devil, Even though Dongbua Shuiying had scanned the entire city with a thought, he did not discover Eternal Night Primogenitor. Clearly, Eternal Night Primogenitor had more amazing techniques, since he had a supreme graded secret treasure. He actually plundered so many souls. Dongbua Shuiying's figure flashed. He appeared within a ruined residence. That cosmos god turned into powder, though he left behind some treasures. Dongbua Shuiying had precise control over his technique. He did not affect these external items. He took one of the black bottles and inspected the large number of souls within. A strand of killing intent could not help but appear between his brows. And the devil I killed previously belongs to the Primogenita ancient nation. Dongbua Shuiying frowned slightly. Before his identity was revealed, he was not afraid of Eternal Night Primogenitor and Extreme Night Primogenitor. What he was afraid of was that his identity would be revealed. Hence, he tried his best not to offend Eternal Night Primogenitor and Extreme Night Primogenitor. An unparalleled existence. Previously, it was his subordinate Black Sovereign King, who wreaked havoc across 19 cities. And now this ordinary cosmos god Nafia is so savage and wantonly collecting souls. Nafia is also a cosmos god with avatars. What I killed previously was merely an avatar of his. Dongbua Shuiying was filled with killing intent towards these devils. Is Eternal Night Primogenitor so indulging in his subordinates? Before he could think further. Not good. Being a Tao of Void expert, Shuiying could sense every single black fog spherical particle in the surroundings. At this moment, he felt a terrifying energy surging over. Eternal Night Primogenitor. This energy was too familiar. Relying on his perception of the void, he discovered Eternal Night Primogenitor, who was wearing a black cape. Go. Dongbua Shuiying was too lazy to fight. He forcefully executed the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique. Sila, a black crack flashed. On the other hand, Dongbua Shuiying's body was already suffering from the terrifying impact, but he still continued to walk into the black crack. One could see the difference between the Great World-Breaching Teleportation Technique and the World-Breaching Teleportation Technique. The Great World-Breaching Teleportation Technique was even more stable. Even under the ferocious attacks, he was still able to forcefully open a path. After all, the Great World-Breaching Teleportation Technique essentially opened up a passageway between two source worlds in an even more terrifying space. If it wasn't stable enough, how could it withstand the pressure from a higher dimension? Even though Dongbua Shuiying tried his best to control the void to suppress it, the area within tens of thousands of li around the mansion was still reduced to rubble. A figure appeared in midair. It was Eternal Night Primogenitor with his black cape fluttering in the wind. Eternal Night Primogenitor's expression seemed to be covered in a layer of frost. He gritted his teeth. Left? You took one of my attacks and left just like that? His body was actually able to withstand my attack so easily. For a Void Dao expert, even if he is more proficient in defense, his physical body shouldn't be that strong. Voidification technique, void control, and many other techniques allowed Tao of Void Final Realm experts to be formidable in terms of survivability. But the fleshy body, most of them weren't strong. Only Emperor Summer had created the Chaotic Origin Tao Scroll, and Shuiying had fused it with the Supreme Secret Importation Technique, Chaotic Origin 7 Strikes, which utilized the Chaotic Origin energy to further perfect the second level of the Chaotic Origin Refinement Body. The strength of his fleshy body was comparable to that of Final Realm body cultivators. Above the vast black prison in sea, Dongbua Shuiying appeared. His expression was slightly pale, and there were traces of blood at the edge of his mouth. Even though he had been weakened by the Tao of Void, and his fleshy body was strong, that supreme graded attack still caused the blood in his body to boil. Nevertheless, his life force wasn't consumed. Fortunately, he brought along the top-graded secret treasure Void Fire Lotus Flower. If not for the Void Fire Lotus Flower, he would have been heavily injured by that sneak attack. By relying on the Void Fire Lotus Flower, I am qualified to survive. If I succeed in refining the Chaotic Origin weapon, why would I be afraid of that Eternal Night Primogenitor? Dongbua Shuiying was relatively confident. He had comprehended the supreme secret importation and fused all sorts of profound mysteries from it into his body, perfecting his body cultivation technique, and pondering over the most suitable Feishua combat technique for himself. Adding on the void fire lotus flower, his strength wasn't any weaker than Great Paragon Fui. The moment he wielded the chaotic origin weapon, he would definitely be stronger by an entire level than Great Paragon Fui. He would most likely be the strongest Paragon Master in the history of the entire Realm Heart Great Land. Why would this Eternal Night Primogenitor hide there? Dongbo Shuiying used the Destruction Realm teleportation to observe that place. Even though both parties had merely exchanged a single move, strictly speaking, it was Eternal Night Primogenitor who sneaked an attack, and Dongbo Shuiying who defended against and escaped. But because Eternal Night Primogenitor was furious, the previous matter of gathering 19 cities was disrupted by Dongbo Shuiying. Black Sovereign King was also killed. He had even suffered from the anger of undying Underworld Emperor. Now that he was collecting a large number of souls, Dongbo Shuiying came again. How could Eternal Night Primogenitor not be furious? This sneak attack was naturally a concealed killing technique that he used all his strength. The power of this killing technique was felt by many unparalleled existences and final realm experts across the entire Realm Heart Great Land. All of them turned over to observe this place. What happened? The fluctuation of a supreme level? They were all watching. Dongbo Shuiying also turned over. He wanted to see what Eternal Night Primogenitor was planning to do. At a moment he saw a piece of ruins spanning across several tens of thousands of kilometers. Above the ruins, Eternal Night Primogenitor stood. Damn. Discovering that piece of ruins, Dongbo Shuiying frowned slightly. This Eternal Night Primogenitor was treating these low-leveled cultivators as ants. He did not even know how to control the area of his technique. Eternal Night Primogenitor stood in midair. His gaze was cold as he surveyed his surroundings. He announced, "Heavens will Taoist, I know you are hiding in the dark." A cold grin appeared on the edge of Dongbo Shuiying's mouth. "You have spoiled my plans time and time again. Do you really think you will never reveal your true identity?" The killing intent in the eyes of Eternal Night Primogenitor became denser. "Aren't you trying to spoil my plans time and time again? I'll do it personally. Let's see how you can stop me." Even though the Destruction Realm teleportation technique prevented others from hearing anything, they could deduce what Eternal Night Primogenitor said through the spatial ripples and the changes in his lips. "Do it personally?" Dongbo Shuiying's expression changed. He could kill ordinary devils. But how could he kill Eternal Night Primogenitor? Being an unparalleled existence, it was too difficult to kill an unparalleled existence. Eternal Night Primogenitor could easily escape from the vile environment of the Realm Heart God Palace when Emperor Summer chased after him. But in the Realm Heart Great Land, the world was vast. There were no arrays or restrictions, and Eternal Night Primogenitor could easily escape. Even an ordinary Ultimate Realm expert could easily escape from an invincible existence. Eternal Night Primogenitor could leave the Realm Heart Great Land whenever he wanted. Even if he did not leave, it was Eternal Night Primogenitor who suppressed him. Dongbo Shuiying. Eternal Night is truly shameless. Emperor Summer softly shook his head. Shameless? Emperor Song coldly uttered as he watched this scene. The three unparalleled existences from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation had always had a bad relationship with the two primogenitors from the Primogenita Ancient Nation. Amen. Limitless City Master held onto the railing and looked towards the endless night sky. Looking to the other side, he directly spoke. His voice transmitted over to the other side of the Realm Heart Great Land. Underworld Emperor, Eternal Night has recently sent his subordinates to wreak havoc in 19 cities and collect souls. Now, he is even shameless enough to threaten Heaven's will Taoist. Given his cultivation path, there is no need for him to do so, right? Is it because of you? Haha, I can't hide it from you, my old friend. Undying Underworld Emperor transmitted back. You have truly chosen a good helper. In the entire Realm Heart Great Land, there are only two evil and shameless existences, Eternal Night and Extreme Night, barely including that Moonflower King. Limitless City Master chuckled. It is merely a fair trade. Limitless, are you willing to make a trade with me? Make a trade with you, Underworld Emperor? I'm not interested at all. He actually appeared. Limitless City Master and Undying Underworld Emperor, who were originally conversing with each other, were slightly startled. It wasn't just them. Many apex experts across the entire realm Heart Great Land were watching with shock. In the night sky, not far away from Eternal Night Primogenita, a black crack flashed, and a white-robed male walked out from it. Heavens will Taoist. It was him. You actually dare to show yourself? Eternal Night Primogenitor was slightly startled when he saw Dongbua Shuang. Since you, Eternal Night Primogenitor, don't care about your face, I naturally have to have a good chat with you and advise Eternal Night Primogenitor to maintain his face. Dongbua Shuang chuckled. Chapter 1187. Eternal Night Primogenitor stared at the white-robed man in front of him. After the sneak attack earlier, he understood that he could not hold back this mysterious Heavens Will Taoist in a one-on-one fight. Second brother. Eternal Night Primogenitor started to contact his life and death brother. Extreme Night Primogenitor. Ha ha ha. You can't do anything to Heavens Will Taoist? You need my help? Extreme Night Primogenitor transmitted and sneered. Although the two of them were life and death brothers, and had been roaming together since before the First War of the Ancient Nations, their personalities were still different. Eternal Night Primogenitor was more aloof, and his methods were more sinister. On the surface, he still cared about his face. He would only tear off his mask at the crucial moment. Only then would he be considered shameless. Most of the time, he still had to maintain his basic face. As for Extreme Night Primogenitor, he did not care about his face at all. Even when facing the weak, deceiving and bewitching were as natural as breathing. This pair, their Tao paths were completely opposite. When they worked together, their combat strength was extremely strong. Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and capture this avatar of Heavens Will Taoist alive. Eternal Night Primogenitor transmitted and urged. He is an expert in the Tao of Void and has many avatars. As long as we capture this avatar and seal his soul, preventing him from committing suicide, we will be able to see through his identity. Eternal Night Primogenitor said. If we work together, we might be able to capture him. Alright, but the disciple you fought with me for previously has to be given to me as a disciple. Alright, but we have to successfully capture him. The two of them secretly made a plan. Dongbua Shuang stood in midair and looked at Eternal Night Primogenitor. Eternal Night Primogenitor, you are one of the two primogenitors of the Primogenita Ancient Nation. Why do you have to disregard your identity and act against those weak cultivators? Are you even qualified to question what I want to do? Eternal Night Primogenitor sneered. Of course I have the right to question you. You can't kill me or even threaten me, but I can threaten you. Dongbua Shuang continued. Eternal Night Primogenitor's expression sank. As a monarch, he naturally had many subordinates, and there were many things that he couldn't do personally, so he needed his subordinates to do it. With this Heavens Will Taoist's temperament, he hated evil as if they were his enemies. He would not show any mercy to demons. And this was the personality of Eternal Night Primogenitor. Many of his subordinates were similarly devilish. If this Heavens Will Taoist were to carry out an assassination, an expert of the Tao of Void would indeed cause the death of quite a few cosmos gods from the Primogenita Ancient Nation. Are you threatening me? Eternal Night Primogenitor's eyes flashed with coldness. Eternal Night Primogenitor, why must you do this? Dongbua Shuang shook his head. If you really want to collect souls, I believe that the entire Primogenita Ancient Country is incomparably huge, and there are many criminals who have violated the iron laws of the ancient country. Those imprisoned criminals have been executed in batches, and their souls have been collected by you. Naturally, I won't meddle in other people's business. Eternal Night Primogenitor fell silent. The soul of a criminal? Of course, he had already collected them. With the size of the ancient country, the amount collected was not small. But compared to the requirements of Undying Underworld Emperor, It was still too lacking. Only a large-scale collection of hundreds of millions would be faster. What you said? Eternal Night Primogenitor frowned slightly. It does make sense, but... Before he could finish his words. Boom! Boom! Two terrifying forces appeared. One was an endless dazzling light, and the other was an endless heart-palpitating darkness. Darkness and light were like two extremes in the world. Dongbo Shueying only felt the surrounding world spinning continuously. Even his soul felt dizzy amidst this rotation. But he was a level 2 cosmos god in the mirage and illusory realm, and had fused with a droplet of myriad tentacles dragon mother's core blood. His soul was sufficiently strong, allowing him to maintain the most basic level of clarity. It's a sneak attack. Dongbo Shueying thought. Hua. Silently this avatar dissipated like powder. It dissipated from the world, and no longer existed. What? Another black-caped male appeared. His cape was pitch black, and one could vaguely see some blood patterns. He was none other than Extreme Night Primogenitor, Eternal Night Primogenitor, and Extreme Night Primogenitor. He actually failed. Extreme Night Primogenitor softly shook his head. This Heavens Will Taoist soul is sufficiently strong. He could actually maintain his consciousness and dissipate this avatar. As long as he was dazed for a moment, by the time he regained his consciousness, his soul would have been sealed. Even though he had some concealing techniques, by then, Eternal Night Primogenitor and Extreme Night Primogenitor could directly permeate their energy into his soul and easily discover the true soul aura of Heavens Will Taoist. Through this, they could discover the identity of Heavens Will Taoist. Why was Heavens Will Taoist so powerful? Why could he render all devils in Realm Heart Great Land helpless against him? Precisely because his identity was kept a secret. There were no flaws that could be exploited. Since I failed this time, it's impossible for me to succeed the next time. Eternal Night Primogenitor felt both anxious and helpless. Hua. A white-robed male walked out from nothingness. For two primogenitors to work together against me, I, Heavens Will Taoist, have a huge reputation. Dongbo Shueying guffawed. Since he took the initiative to persuade the other party, he had to stand out openly. Naturally, it was impossible for him to be unprepared. Even though he was confident in his 9 great avatars working together with the Void Fire Lotus Flower, he would simply be a target if he stood out openly. Who knew what other techniques Eternal Night Primogenitor had? For instance, working together with 2 or 3 unparalleled existences. For instance, if that more sinister Undying Underworld Emperor joined in, he could not afford to lose. Currently, he was not willing to reveal his identity. Hence, he might as well send out an ordinary avatar that did not bring any treasures. He had more than 10,000 avatars. Hence, an ordinary avatar was not worth mentioning even if it dissipated. The two of you, are you still planning to deal with me? Dongbo Shueying looked at Eternal Night Primogenitor and Extreme Night Primogenitor before him with a chuckle. Hua! This avatar of his dissipated once again. Following that, another white-robed male walked out from nothingness. Being a final realm cultivator in the Tao of Void, I have many avatars. Once I dissipate one, another will appear. The speed at which I dissipate is slower than the speed at which I refine avatars. The newly formed avatar of Dongbo Shueying grinned at Extreme Night Primogenitor and Eternal Night Primogenitor. Eternal Night Primogenitor and Extreme Night Primogenitor exchanged glances. This Heavens Will Taoist, he was different from ordinary final realm cultivators. He had reached the final realm in the Tao of Void. He had many avatars. They wanted to capture and seal him alive. However, the other party's soul seemed to be very powerful. They were unable to control him, even after working together to launch a sneak attack. The two of them were even more helpless. South Dongbo Shueying stood there. Another white-robed male walked out from nothingness. He took out a flask of wine and started drinking. Eternal Night Primogenitor's expression instantly turned gloomy. This flask of wine? It was from the Primogenita Ancient Country's Eternal Night City. Just a moment ago, Dongbo Shueying had sent an avatar to use the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique to sneak into Eternal Night Primogenitor's cultivation room. After grabbing a flask of wine, he immediately rushed over. It is very simple for me to kill some of the demons in the Primogenita ancient country. The two Dongbo Shuang each held a cup of wine and drank. At the same time they said, "Of course, I have no intention of becoming enemies with the two primogenitors. I only wish to help those pitiful, ordinary and weak cultivators. Primogenitors, please be merciful and kind, and give them a path of survival. Collect souls? There are plenty of other methods. You just have to spend more time." Extreme Night Primogenitor and Eternal Night Primogenitor exchanged glances. They felt furious and helpless in their hearts. This was also the helplessness unparalleled existences felt when facing some of the absolute great devils in the realm Heart Great Land. Those absolute great devils were incredibly arrogant. They even dared to occasionally wreak havoc in the 6 great ancient nations. Why? Even the absolute great devils could not kill them by relying on their unparalleled existences. They relied on the fact that the unparalleled existences had huge businesses and did not dare to shed all pretense of cordiality with them. And now, this Heavens Will Taoist was the exact opposite of those absolute great devils. He wanted to help those weak cultivators. Actually, he was very similar to Limitless City Master. Limitless City Master was also protecting the order of the realm Heart Great Land, ensuring that the cultivators could reproduce normally. But clearly, the scope of order in the eyes of Limitless City Master was much larger. Even if a city was massacred, it was not worth mentioning. Dongbo Shuang wanted to protect the order he believed to be. He didn't care about the ordinary life and death battles that took place during cultivation. But the large-scale massacres of trillions of people was something Dongbo Shuang had to care about. What should we do? Extreme Night Primogenitor transmitted to Eternal Night Primogenitor. Eternal Night, we don't know where this Heavens Will Taoist came from. We can't threaten him at all. As for collecting souls, you should have been collecting them for a very long time, right? I have been collecting for more than 100 million years. I have been very careful, but who would have thought that I would still be discovered? Eternal Night Primogenitor transmitted back. You have been collecting for more than 100 million years before being discovered. Since that's the case, we should temporarily agree to him and collect more souls in the dark. Furthermore, try not to let this Heavens Will Taoist discover that you are related to him. Extreme Night Primogenitor transmitted. As long as we are more careful and low profile, it won't be that easy for this Heavens Will Taoist to discover us. I can only do this. Eternal Night Primogenitor thought. He felt sullen in his heart, yet he was helpless. Facing such an expert who had no worries and could not be killed, what could he do even if he had many avatars? Rest assured, it's impossible for him to keep his identity a secret forever. He will eventually be exposed. Extreme Night Primogenitor transmitted. What we are enduring now will be returned to him when his identity is exposed. Not just us. Those devils who were intimidated by him will definitely take revenge. When his identity is exposed, he will understand why nobody dared to do so in the realm Heart Great Land. Amen. Eternal Night Primogenitor nodded. Let's endure for now. After cultivating for so long, they were very patient. They looked forward to the day when Heavens Will Taoist's identity was exposed. Chapter 1188. Facing the Eternal Night Primogenitor and the Extreme Night Primogenitor. Dongbo Shuang smiled faintly and bowed slightly to show his respect before disappearing into the void. He took the initiative to leave and show his respect. He was also leaving some face for Eternal Night Primogenitor and Extreme Night Primogenitor. He could see that Eternal Night Primogenitor already had the intention to retreat. Given his identity, it was naturally impossible for him to admit defeat. On the contrary, he, Heavens Will Taoist, bowed to show his respect and left, giving the other party a way out. Eternal Night Primogenitor and the others are the leaders of an ancient country. My identity as this Heavens Will Taoist has no flaws at all. However, I can't humiliate them too much to prevent them from flying into a rage. Dongbo Shuang understood this point. If he, Dongbo Shuang, was an invincible existence, It would have been fine if Dongbo Shuang humiliated him verbally. After all, they were on the same level. Currently, his strength was still far inferior to an invincible existence. Their strength was inferior, and the other party was already unhappy that they had to endure it. If they continued to humiliate them, it was hard to guarantee that the Eternal Night Primogenitor and the others would go crazy and ignore their subordinates. Let's go. The Extreme Night Primogenitor chuckled and disappeared. The Eternal Night Primogenitor coldly stared into the distance. This time, he was ultimately forced to temporarily lower his head. After that, he vanished without a trace. Very few watched this battle. Even the majority of Cosmos gods did not witness this battle. Only a few invincible existences, ultimate realm existences, and other rare existences could sense the fluctuations of the battle and watch this battle from afar. Although the number of experts watching this battle was extremely small, it had a great impact. The two primogenitors of Primogenita Ancient Country worked together, yet they couldn't force Heaven's Will Daoist to reveal his identity. After this battle, it will be hard to shake Heaven's Will Daoist in a short period of time. Amen. Those devils are waiting for Heaven's Will Daoist's identity to be exposed. I'm afraid they will have to wait for a very long time. So powerful. When the two primogenitors of the Primogenita Ancient Country work together, they are extremely terrifying. Yet, they can't do anything to Heaven's Will Daoist. Most likely, only the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation and the Summer Wind Ancient Nation could deal against Heaven's Will Daoist. Unparalleled existences prioritize their status, and not many would be like Eternal Night Primogenitor, who would shamelessly sneak and attack. For the time being, the Heaven's Will Daoist has nothing to worry about. Everyone made their own judgments. An invincible existence launching a sneak attack on a weaker final stage cultivator without a supreme secret treasure? It was shameless to begin with. Sneak attack together? That was even more shameless. Only those two from the Primogenita Ancient Kingdom could do it so straightforwardly. With Emperor Xia's temper and God Emperor Armageddon's temper, it was a great humiliation for them to do this. Unless something that would affect their chances of breaking through to the chaotic origin level appeared. Only then would they disregard everything. For instance, the First and Second War of the Ancient Nations. Normally, most people would place great importance on their status and face. A handsome young man wearing a luxurious golden robe and a crown sat alone on the throne. He held a cup of scarlet fruit wine and looked into the distance. His eyes easily saw the entire process of the battle just now. Ever since I returned to the Realm Heart Great Land, my life has become comfortable. The handsome young man whispered with a smile on his face. Only the Broken Teeth Mountain Range made me feel a bit of the dangerous aura of the past. Broken Teeth Mountains, the most dangerous place in Realm Heart Great Land. Several chaotic origin lifeform corpses were thrown there. Even unparalleled existences had fallen there. Returning to his hometown, to Undying Underworld Emperor, the Broken Teeth Mountain Range was still attractive to him. Yuan, I've failed. Are you not going to give me another chance? The handsome young man looked up. His vision penetrated through the palace walls and the vast void. He could vaguely see the higher dimension. He was unwilling. Truly unwilling. I am truly unwilling to be an ant trapped in a cage. The handsome young man muttered. Underworld Emperor, you should have seen it too. That Heaven's Will Daoist is truly hard to deal with. Hence, I hope for Underworld Emperor to extend the time limit. I'm not confident of dealing with him within the original time limit. Eternal Night Primogenitor transmitted. The handsome young man sneered. Eternal Night, you have to bear the oath you made in the past. As for the time limit, I can allow you to delay for twice the original amount of time. But the moment you do so, the benefits I promised you will be halved. Eternal Night Primogenitor turned silent at that moment. Naturally, if you settle it within the original amount of time, everything will go according to the original promise. The handsome young man said. He had already relaxed his conditions. According to the original conditions, the moment Eternal Night Primogenitor failed, he would be violating the oath. Even if he delayed for twice the original amount of time, he would still be within the scope of the oath. Alright, I agree. Eternal Night Primogenitor acknowledged. The handsome young man sneered. Black flames could vaguely be seen surging in his eyes. He muttered softly, Heavens will Taoist. Interesting. He wants to suppress all devils in the realm Heart Great Land by himself. Should I spend some effort to uncover his identity? To unparalleled existences in the realm Heart Great Land, Heavens will Taoist could disguise his aura flawlessly. But to undying underworld emperor who had experienced countless dangers outside, he had ways to uncover his identity. Foolish. The handsome young man frowned. How can I use the strength I have painstakingly accumulated on such a minor matter that I am curious about? It seems that I have returned to the realm Heart Great Land for too long without any dangers. In addition to the lack of opportunities, my mentality has changed. With such a mentality, I still want to learn from Lord Lo Chung and use his great willpower and determination to break through with force? He immediately threw the thought of uncovering the identity of Heavens will Taoist to the back of his mind. To undying underworld emperor, Heavens will Taoist was merely an entertainment. He did not threaten him at all. Time passed. Just like how many apex experts determined, even though few experts saw the battle between Dongbo Shui Ying and the two unparalleled existences from the primogenitor ancient nation, its influence still spread out. The order of the entire realm Heart Great Land became much better. Even the gathering places of devils became much more low profile. Even though there were still some cruel incidents happening, they were far from large-scale massacres. Dongbo Shuang did not interfere with those cruel battles between experts. Instead, he chose to choose the Tao of Devils. Over the years, Dongbo Shuang would still occasionally use the identity of Heavens will Taoist to kill those devils who dared to engage in massacres. There would always be those who were ignorant. There would always be those who harbored hope in their hearts. And there would always be those who could not suppress the madness in their hearts. Eliminate them all. In the blink of an eye, 10 billion years passed. To cosmos gods, this short period was merely a short period of closed-door cultivation. To Dongbo Shuang, it was a relatively short period of cultivation. Even after relying on the world flower and improving his Tao of Void, he continued pondering over the fifth killing move. But during these 10 billion years, the most important thing to him was the chaotic origin weapon was finally about to be refined. Chi. Within the meditation room, a fragrance permeated the place. The white-robed Dongbo Shuang sat cross-legged there. Before him, a dark spear floated there. It seemed cold and ordinary, but if one carefully sensed it, they would feel their heart palpitating. That was a power that originated from a higher dimension. The core material of the entire chaotic origin weapon was the chaotic origin sand. 50,000 kilograms of chaotic origin sand was equivalent to collecting more than half the chaotic origin sand in the entire realm Heart Great Land. Fortunately, the chaotic origin sand was too high-end. It was a material of a higher dimension, and unparalleled existences could not use it at all. Even though they knew that it had an extraordinary origin, it was still expensive. But even if they could not use it, Dongbo Shuang still managed to get it by relying on the Mirage scripture. He had spent 10 billion years refining it step by step, and now, he was at the final juncture. South, a strand of violet gold liquid began transforming in midair. It gradually turned into an array, albeit at a slow speed. No choice. This array was too high-end. Dongbo Shuang could only rely on the array diagram that came with the chaotic origin 7 strikes to control it step by step. If he had to do it in one go, he could not do it. Only after 2 hours, or so did the array formed by the violet gold liquid was completed. The moment the array was formed, it became translucent. It was faintly discernible as if it existed within the origin world. Yet it seemed to be connected to a higher dimension beyond the origin world. Pooh! Under the control of Dongbo Shuang, this array pounced towards this spear. At the moment it pounced over, many arrays lit up on the spear. A terrifying force blasted out in all directions. The surface of Dongbo Shuang's body was protected by many layers of stacked space. This force even broke through all defenses and struck against the body of Dongbo Shuang, causing his powerful fleshy body to feel the terrifying impact. He could not help but fly backwards before crashing against the walls of the meditation room. Fortunately, the meditation room was protected by many arrays. It was also the core of the entire Feishua city, hence it was able to suppress this explosive aura. Following that, the aura of this black spear was kept. Dongbo Shui Ying's consciousness immediately permeated in according to the cultivation technique. He began soothing this terrifying chaotic origin weapon. Chaotic origin weapons were originally weapons used by higher-leveled chaotic origin lifeforms. But Yuan was specially made for Dongbo Shuiying. Using the most common chaotic origin sand in the higher dimension as the foundation, he refined the most simplified chaotic origin weapon. Even the refinement method was simplified to the extreme. Only by doing so could cosmos gods use such chaotic origin weapons. Even supreme-graded secret treasures were bestowed by Yuan. If not for him, how could a final realm expert own such a weapon? Actually, supreme-graded secret treasures only contain part of the profound mysteries at the chaotic origin level. I've finally succeeded. I've succeeded. Dongbo Shuiying could feel the terrifying energy contained within this spear. His heart was filled with joy. This spear will aid me in stepping onto the chaotic origin path. I shall call it Azure River. Dongbo Shuiying thought. Azure River. This name represented his hometown, Azure River County. It also represented his wife and children. Those were the most important people in his life. Today is the first day. Chapter 1189. Dongbo Shuiying walked to the floating pitch-black spear. Looking up, he extended his hand and grabbed the spear body. Holding on to it, Shuiying felt comfortable. He even felt his soul trembling, as if his soul and the spear were connected together. Chaotic origin weapon. Who would have thought that I could own a chaotic origin weapon? Dongbo Shuiying's eyes brightened. Across the entire realm Heart Great Land, there were more than 10 supreme-graded secret treasures. Adding up the number of unparalleled existences that fell, there were more than 20. But what about a chaotic origin weapon? One had to know that it was harder to obtain a supreme-graded secret importation than a supreme-graded secret treasure. And a chaotic origin weapon was even rarer than a supreme-graded secret importation. Unparalleled existences in the realm Heart Great Land had accumulated quite a lot of chaotic origin sand over the years. Yet only he, Dongbo Shuiying, had collected it on a large scale. From this, it was possible that there was only one chaotic origin weapon in the entire realm Heart Great Land. Who? He sat down cross-legged. He placed the spear on his knees. As his soul fused with the spirituality of the spear, he was gradually refining the spear. Refining a chaotic origin weapon was originally difficult. Cosmos gods could not even hope to refine it. But fortunately, every single part of this spear was personally refined by Dongbo Shuiying. That complicated process of refinement was actually an initial refinement. And now it was much easier for him to refine it. Just 300 years later, the Azure River spear was completely at his will. Originally, I could only execute the first 3 strikes of the chaotic origin 7 strikes. But now, by relying on the Azure River spear, I can execute the first 5 strikes. Dongbo Shuiying was very satisfied. If not for the Azure River spear, even if he reached the final realm, he would only be able to execute the technique to this level. I have to properly experience it. Even though his strength had increased significantly, the chaotic origin weapon Azure River spear was merely a stepping stone for him to better comprehend the Tao of void and chaotic origin energy. Nobody in the realm Heart Great Land knew that Dongbo Shuiying had refined the chaotic origin weapon, Azure River spear. Everything in the vast realm Heart Great Land was still rolling forward. With the appearance of Heaven's Will Taoist, the order in the realm Heart Great Land had become much better. Incidents of great massacres were less than 100 times less than in the past. This was the deterrence of a peerless expert. In the blink of an eye, another 300 billion years passed. Dongbo Shuiying was still cultivating in seclusion. He had even relied on the world flowers to comprehend the chaotic origin weapon Azure River spear. to execute the chaotic origin 5 strikes. Dongbui Shuiying had created the 5th killing move of Feishua's combat technique. It was incredibly powerful, and it also had the effect of escaping. It could be considered a variant of the Great World-Breaching Teleportation Technique. As a matter of fact, Dongbui Shuiying's Great World-Breaching Teleportation Technique was relatively weak too. If it was the Great World-Breaching Teleportation Technique used by an Ultimate Realm expert, then it would be much more profound and perfect. Not only could he escape, but he could also bring other lives with him. On this day, a piece of news reached Dongbui Shuiying. What? Paragon Master Bewitching Sword has broken through to the final realm? Dongbui Shuiying was startled when he saw this piece of news. So fast? Paragon Master Bewitching Sword had once fought alongside him in the Realm Heart God Palace. Even when Eternal Knight Primogenita acted against him, Paragon Master Bewitching Sword did his best to stop him. Hence, Paragon Master Bewitching Sword was indeed friendly to him. It's just that Paragon Master Bewitching Sword was a new Paragon Master from the Tsang clan in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. He was also the youngest Paragon Master in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Despite being so young, he had surpassed many other Paragon Masters, including Great Paragon Fui, Skyrending Great Paragon, and others. Final Realm, Dongbui Shuiying muttered. Only after bitterly cultivating did he understand how difficult it was to reach the final realm. He had long fused 8 branches together. He even had the world flowers and a supreme secret importation. His comprehension abilities were also incredibly high. Yet at the final step, he had created 5 great killing moves. His accumulations were incredibly deep, yet he still felt he was lacking by a little. Shuiying did not know when he could take this crucial step. Great Paragon Fui, Southern Cloud King, Skyrending Great Paragon, and others were all stuck at this bottleneck. Looking at the Realm Heart Great Land, other than unparalleled existences, the number of other Final Realm cultivators could be counted with 2 hands. How few were there? In the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, other than the 3 unparalleled existences, there were no other Final Realm cultivators. Paragon Master Bewitching Sword was the only Final Realm cultivator that appeared in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, other than the 3 unparalleled existences. Final Realm Ceremony? Paragon Master Bewitching Sword treats me really well. I should pick some gifts and rush over. Dongbui Shuiying thought. Finally, a Final Realm cultivator was born in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. A grand ceremony to celebrate the birth of a Final Realm cultivator was also held in the core city of the Tsang clan, Emperor Tsang City. Experts from various places came over to congratulate them. The surrounding dozens of nations naturally did not dare not attend. Even the other 5 ancient countries had sent envoys to congratulate him. Many of the smaller countries had even sent their rulers to congratulate him personally. I've never seen so many cosmos gods before. The white-robed young man Dongbui Shuiying and Southern Cloud King arrived side by side. They presented their gifts before entering the enormous palace hall. Under the guidance of the attendants, they were seated. With a glance, there were more than 500 cosmos gods bustling about in this palace hall. Furthermore, they were merely here to congratulate the Final Realm cultivator. One could see the difference between the Realm Heart Great Land and the Primal Chaos Void. It is rare for a Final Realm cultivator to appear. Usually lone cultivators or Final Realm cultivators who rose from small nations would not hold such a ceremony. Only ancient nations would have such an extravagant celebration. Southern Cloud King said from the side. Furthermore, this Paragon Master Bewitching Sword has risen too quickly. He broke through to the Cosmos God realm before becoming a Paragon Master. Now, he has even reached the Final Realm. He has cultivated for a short period. Even though it is much longer than yours, he has only entered the Realm Heart God Palace once. Now that he has reached the Final Realm, with his frightening cultivation speed, it is possible for him to acquire a supreme graded secret treasure in the Realm Heart God Palace. Furthermore, Emperor Summer, Emperor Tsang, and Ancestor Fan will definitely do their best to help Paragon Master Bewitching Sword. Hence, it is highly possible for this Paragon Master Bewitching Sword to acquire a supreme-graded secret treasure during the next opening of the Realm Heart God Palace. Southern Cloud King sighed. So many cosmos gods are here to congratulate the Summer Wind Ancient Nation on one hand, and to express their goodwill to Paragon Master Bewitching Sword on the other. After all, he might be a new unparalleled existence. Dongbo Shuang nodded. Naturally, during the ceremony, it is possible that Paragon Master Bewitching Sword will practice his Dao path to the final realm. This should be one of the reasons why so many cosmos gods are here, Southern Cloud King said. His eyes were filled with slight anticipation. How much he desired to reach the final realm. Final realm? Dongbo Shuang muttered. This time, he was participating in the ceremony of others. He did not know when he would break through. Only after he broke through could he save his loved ones and good friends, bringing them out of the primal chaos void and into other origin worlds. Isn't that Monarch Feishue? Monarch Feishue came together with Southern Cloud King. This Monarch Feishue is quite low profile. The previous time when the Realm Heart God Palace opened, it was said that he reaped a huge harvest within. It's a pity that he was killed by Eternal Night Primogenitor in the end. Not only was his avatar destroyed, all his treasures were taken away too. He originally had the strength of a Paragon Master. Now that he lost his treasures, his strength has greatly decreased. How pitiful. It isn't easy to become a Paragon Master, yet he lost it after gaining it. There were more than 500 cosmos gods gathered in the palace hall. They were usually overlords of a region. They were either kings, or the few highest existences in a nation. It was rare for them to meet during normal occasions. Yet during this ceremony, they were all discussing about other people. When they talked about Monarch Feishue, some cosmos gods felt pity for him, and some were rejoicing in his misfortune. Naturally, they communicated through voice transmissions, and there was no need to talk about it publicly. They could choose not to give face to Monarch Feishue, but they still had to give face to Southern Cloud King. Snow Eagle, there are quite a few cosmos gods who feel pity for you. Southern Cloud King also noticed the surrounding cosmos gods looking over. Even though they chuckled, some of them were looking at Dongbo Shuang with a meaningful gaze. If they knew that you are the Heavens Will Taoist, I wonder what expression they would have. These cosmos gods aren't worth caring about. Dongbo Shuang transmitted back. He did not care about those cosmos gods. To us, the most important thing is to reach the final realm. Currently, I have this strength merely by relying on external materials. That's right, you have reached the final realm. Southern Cloud King softly nodded. Both teacher and disciple desired to reach the final realm. They are here. The entire palace hall suddenly turned silent. Above the great palace hall, 4 figures appeared. Emperor Tsong, Emperor Summer, and Ancestor Fan were at the center. And Paragon Master Bewitching Sword was at the left-hand position of Emperor Tsong. Chapter 1190. Paragon Master Bewitching Sword sat there. Sweeping his gaze downwards, he exchanged glances with some familiar people, and even chatted with them. He also turned to Dongbo Shuang with a chuckle. Brother Feishue, do you still remember when we attempted the 18 stages together in the Realm Heart God Palace? If I could reach the final realm at that time, it would be possible for me to bring you away. Dongbo Shuang was slightly startled by the kindness and passion of the other party. He immediately replied, "That time, Brother Bewitching Sword has already done your best for me. I am already grateful." At that time, Paragon Master Bewitching Sword went to obstruct Paragon Master Bewitching Sword. If not for Eternal Night Primogenitor being unwilling to shed all pretense of cordiality with the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, he would have killed Paragon Master Bewitching Sword with a wave of his hand. Paragon Master Bewitching Sword chuckled. He then transmitted a few words to other familiar friends. And at the same time, Emperor Tsong was also presiding over this ceremony. After all, it was a disciple of his Tsong clan who broke through to the final realm. Emperor Summer and the others were clearly in a good mood. They organized a lively ceremony. Many performances even broadened the horizons of Dongbo Shuang. This ceremony lasted for 9 days before it ended. Southern Cloud King. It has been a long time since the two of us met, right? I've arranged a small gathering in Emperor Song City tonight. Are you free to join us? Brother Heaven Ancient will be there too. Oh, Monarch Feishue will be joining us too. Brother Southern Cloud. Southern Cloud. Because there were many cosmos gods participating in the ceremony, it was rare for them to meet each other. After the banquet ended, many invitations were sent out, forming many small-scale gatherings. After all, even though the ceremony was lively, it was relatively reserved. It was more casual for small-scale gatherings. Southern Cloud King was the wealthiest Paragon Master, the creator of one of the 10 great religions, the Southern Cloud Sacred Religion, and one of the absolute heroes in Realm Heart Great Land. Naturally, many invited him. Many gave him face by inviting Monarch Feishue. Monarch Feishue was just a level 2 cosmos god, and was considered ordinary amongst the cosmos gods participating in the ceremony. Brother Feishue, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Master Bewitching Sword took the initiative to invite Dongbue Shueying over. He pulled Dongbue Shueying away. I have a small gathering, and I've invited a few good friends. You and I have gone through thick and thin together, so don't reject me. Dongbue Shueying had no choice but to tag along. This made the large group of cosmos gods dumbfounded. The demonic sword master has such a good relationship with Monarch Feishue? I've heard that they passed through the 18 stages of the Realm Heart God Palace together. He has merely ventured through the Realm Heart God Palace, yet their relationship is so close. Many cosmos gods felt envious. After reaching the final realm, the bewitching sword master could do as he pleased. He could invite whoever he wanted. He was not afraid of offending others. After all, if a final realm cultivator became a demon, he would immediately become a peerless demon. Even an invincible existence would find it difficult to deal with him. Not to mention the fact that he, Lord Bewitching Sword, had only cultivated for a short period of time, and had the chance to obtain a supreme-grade secret treasure. Behind him, he still had Emperor Summer, Emperor Tsong, and Ancestor Fan as his staunch allies. Hence, Master Bewitching Sword merely invited 10 or so cultivators who were close to him. He did not even invite Southern Cloud King. That night, during the gathering, Master Bewitching Sword also introduced Dongbue Shueying to some of his good friends, letting others know that Monarch Feishue was a life-and-death friend of Master Bewitching Sword. For a moment, in the eyes of many cosmos gods across the Realm Heart Great Land, this Monarch Feishue had a teacher, Southern Cloud King. Furthermore, he was a life-and-death friend of Master Bewitching Sword. Hence, many cosmos gods became much more polite and respectful towards Monarch Feishue. It would be much easier if he asked others for help. But the current Dongbue Shueying was completely focused on cultivation. He would only occasionally incarnate as Heaven's Will Daoist to kill some devils. Fan Clan Magic Mountain. The short and thick burning heart god tree was covered by a violet tree crown. A white-robed young man sat cross-legged. Time passed. The wind blew. Occasionally, there would be leaves that seemed to be carved from violet jade falling down. Ever since the transaction of the Mirage Scripture, Dongbue Shueying had always left an avatar cultivating here. According to the conditions of the transaction, he was qualified to cultivate under the burning heart god tree for 1 trillion years. But now it had been 300 billion years. Just 10,000 years after Master Bewitching Sword broke through to the final realm, Dongbue Shueying suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were dark, as if they were filled with terrifying destruction. And with another blink, his eyes returned to normal. I've succeeded in fusing 4 branches together. Dongbue Shueying revealed a grin. Unknowingly, I fused 4 branches in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. I'm just one step away from fusing all 5 branches together. He had long reached the final realm in the Tao of Void. And now, it was the same for the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. But the significance of the two was different. The Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm was a Tao path that focused on the soul. Its difficulty was much higher. Across the entire Realm Heart Great Land, there were very few who reached the Cosmos God realm in the Tao of Soul. And those who reached the level 2 Cosmos God realm in the Tao of Soul were even rarer than those who reached the final realm in other Dao paths. This Dao path was incredibly difficult. Even the scriptures were incomparably precious. Fusing 4 branches together. Dongbua Shuang chuckled. I feel that my talent in the Tao of Mirage is much higher than my talent in the Tao of Void. Indeed, because too many predecessors had walked on the Tao of Void, Shuang had obtained many opportunities, like General Mo Gu's scaled armor, Emperor Jian's 4 diagrams absolute art, Void Primogenitor's Walker's hidden secret. All sorts of benefits he had obtained from the Realm Heart Great Land. Forget about the Scarlet Cloud combat technique, Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles, and Chaotic Origin Dao scroll. There were also the 9 world flowers bestowed by Lord Locheng, and the supreme secret impartation from Yuan's Realm Heart God Palace. Many opportunities in addition to his talent allowed him to walk to where he was today. Comparatively speaking, the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm had fewer opportunities in the outside world. In his hometown Primal Chaos Void, the moment he reached the Primal Chaos Realm, he would be the #1 expert in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. He had to pave his own path. And after coming to the Realm Heart Great Land, Shuang had worked hard to obtain Ancestor Fan's Heart Realm. Shuang had even surpassed Ancestor Fan very quickly, and Ancestor Fan even wanted to learn the Mirage scripture that Shuang created. Currently, Shuang had fused 4 branches together. Across the entire Realm Heart Great Land, only he, Dongbua Shuang, had fused 4 branches together. He could be said to be the #1 expert in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm in the entire Realm Heart Great Land. At a certain location far away in the higher dimension, an old man was currently seated opposite Lord Locheng. They were both drinking tea. Amen. The old man abruptly turned towards a direction. Elder brother Yuan, what is it? Lord Locheng asked. That Dongbua Shuang has fused 4 branches together in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. Yuan was incredibly startled. The Realm Heart Great Land was created by him, and Dongbua Shuang was one of the few origin worlds he paid close attention to. Otherwise, he would not have specially pondered over the simplified chaotic origin weapon refinement technique, and would not bestow the core blood of myriad tentacles dragon mother to him. Fusing 4 branches together means he is just a step away from reaching the final realm? Lord Locheng was startled. In your Realm Heart Great Land, there is only this Dongbua Shuang who is just a step away from reaching the final realm in the Tao of Soul. Right? Right, there is only him. Yuan was startled too. It was too difficult to advance in the Tao of Soul. Dongbua Shuang felt that he was the #1 expert in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm in Realm Heart Great Land. Yet he did not know that he was the #1 expert in the Tao of Soul in Realm Heart Great Land. The majority of the origin worlds do not have as many experts as the Realm Heart Great Land. Yuan sighed. Just by relying on their huge numbers, and including some cultivators in some unique places in the chaotic origin dimension, there are more than 100 who are just a step away from reaching the final realm in the Tao of Soul. But there has never been one who cultivated for such a short period like Dongbua Shuang. That's right. Lord Locheng nodded. According to what the two of them knew, never. There had never been anyone who reached the final realm in the Tao of Soul. Not a single one. Hence, Yuan could not bestow down any scriptures in the Realm Heart Great Land. Because even though they were experts amongst chaotic origin lifeforms, they did not specialize in the Tao of Soul. Currently, what they knew was that the deepest Tao of Soul was just a step away from reaching the final realm. He has cultivated for too short a period. Lord Locheng sighed. Adding up the time he spent in his hometown origin world and the Realm Heart Great Land, he has cultivated for less than 2 trillion years. Yet in less than 2 trillion years, he has cultivated the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm to this stage. That is too terrifying. His talent in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm is indeed frightening. Yes, Yuan's eyes were also emitting light. I have a premonition that if he were to reach the final realm in the Mirage and Illusory Realm, it wouldn't be hard for him to become a chaotic origin life form. Haha. He has broken through in my Realm Heart Great Land. Seeing his temperament, it seems he cares more about the weak than you and me. He is someone who remembers old friendships and knows how to be grateful. By then, it would be easy for him to join our side. Yes, Jehovah Lochung smiled. I also gave him 9 world flowers previously. However, the prerequisite for this is that his mirage and illusory realm has reached the final realm. 4 ordinary Dao paths. Breaking through to the final step was already extremely difficult. It was likely that breaking through in the mirage and illusory realm would be even more difficult. In many origin worlds, there are over 100 people who are only 1 step away from reaching the ultimate realm in terms of soul power. But all of them are stuck there. Not a single one of them can take that final step. Yuan softly nodded. I've long given him a droplet of myriad tentacles dragon mother's core blood. To a cosmos god who has yet to jump out of the cage, this is the limit of his soul. We can't help him. In the Tao of mirage and illusory realm, he is already standing at the peak. From now on, he has to walk on his own. His cultivation speed is really fast. His talent in this aspect has far surpassed all known cultivators. Jehovah Lochung nodded. Even though the final step is difficult, in terms of hope, he is the one with the greatest hope. Let's wait and see. Yuan chuckled. Everyone says that it is a waste of time for me to create the realm heart great land. Yet they do not know that only by spending enough time and having sufficient patience would a true expert appear. The 2 of them paid attention to this matter for a while before no longer caring about it. They knew that it would not be easy for this Dongbua Shuiying to reach the final realm in the mirage and illusory realm. Chapter 1191. Hometown Primal Chaos Void. This place was much more peaceful than the realm Heart Great Land. But it was the calm before a storm. The number 1 expert in the entire Primal Chaos Void, Sacred Master, was cultivating wholeheartedly. He was absorbing the faith energy from the civilians in the ancient sacred world, relying on the ancient sacred incarnation to convert it into origin source energy. In other sacred worlds and primal chaos lands, there were many believers who were contributing faith energy to him. Sacred Master had always been accumulating energy. He was prepared to attempt the final breakthrough when the great apocalypse arrived. He wanted to see if he could grasp the supreme law of this era and become a chaotic origin life form. If he failed, he could only wait for the next era. As for other cosmos gods like Dongbua Shuiying and others, they were also cultivating wholeheartedly. Without reaching the final realm, it was impossible for them to resist against the apocalypse and rebirth of an origin world. And in the Lost World corridor, within a sealed space, there was a floating black flower. The petals of the flower were completely closed. After a long time, this black flower finally blossomed, revealing a sinister thin male with a long scaled tail seated within. He was a destruction devil, and also the current leader of all destruction devils in the Lost World corridor. Emperor Jun slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with a strange color. I finally reached the final realm. Emperor Jun could hardly conceal his excitement. He looked at the space in front of him. Many strands of energy were spreading everywhere, and all the laws were controlled by him. He could easily control this final realm energy. Reaching the final realm, at least I can easily survive against the great apocalypse of this origin world. I can easily survive until the next era. Emperor Jun narrowed his eyes and pondered. According to Senior's guidance, there are 2 final realm experts in this origin world, Old Monster Stone and Sacred Master. Sacred Master is also a destruction devil from a certain era. But an origin world can only have one who grasps the supreme law. They are all my opponents. After Emperor Jun reached the final realm, he was already planning to jump out of the cage and become a chaotic origin life form. And becoming a chaotic origin life form, the most common method was to take control of an source world and use the immense power of that source world to allow oneself to reach another level of life. As for the other method, it was to break through with force. By cultivating oneself, one would be able to forcefully jump out of this cage. At that time, one would be able to easily control an source world. Old Monster Stone, and the Sacred Lord have both reached the final realm a long time ago. Their foundations are deeper than mine. I have to seize this opportunity. In this era, I'm the product of the supreme laws. I was born to destroy. As long as I destroy more, the supreme laws will bestow more benefits to me. Emperor Jun thought, it's fine if I don't act. But the moment I act, I must not give Sacred Master and Old Monster Stone any chance. We must destroy the entire origin world, as soon as possible, and force it into the great apocalypse. Once the great calamity occurred, those who were not at the final realm would all die. Even those destruction devils would be wiped out. Emperor Jun did not care. What he cared about was that he could receive a great blessing from the supreme laws of nature. His destruction was done in accordance with the power of the supreme natural order. However, for cultivators like Dongbo Shuang, they were not willing to die just like that. All living beings had the desire to live, so they naturally did their best to maintain this era. Let me consolidate my strength first. The moment everything is done, it will be time for me to act. Emperor Jun revealed a grin. Even though Sacred Master and the others aren't any weaker than me, they can't threaten or obstruct me. Just a few tens of thousands of years later, Emperor Jun felt that he had consolidated his strength. It's time for me to act. Emperor Jun grinned. Selah, the surrounding void suddenly distorted into a black hole. Emperor Jun took a step into the black hole and disappeared from the vicinity. When he appeared again, he was in the myriad ancient sacred world. Myriad ancient sacred world. Emperor Jun walked out of the black hole. He looked downwards and saw a tribe in the vast wilderness. There were many civilians living here. Further away, there was a huge city. Humph. Emperor Jun sneered coldly. His long scaled tail swung about. He then waved out his palm that was covered in scales. Selah, the boundless void ahead began distorting. The earth was completely distorted and destroyed. Even the deepest part of the earth had been penetrated through, allowing one to see the primal chaos void at the other end of the myriad ancient sacred world. This distortion spread out in all directions. That tribe was instantly turned into nothingness, and the distant huge city was also affected and destroyed. There were many civilians within the city, and there was even a primal chaos city master. But it was futile. They could not resist at all. It was as if they were erased from a painting. That huge city, and all the living beings within were wiped out. Emperor Jun's move was too ruthless. He did not do it intentionally. His true motive was to destroy the entire myriad ancient sacred world. The myriad ancient sacred world was constructed by Wu Zhu, Jie Zhu, and the others over a long period of time. Even a final realm expert would require some time to completely destroy it. What? In the ancient sacred world, being a final realm expert, Sacred Master, his senses were incredibly sharp. The moment Emperor Jun unleashed his full power, Sacred Master was able to sense it. He wore a black muslin robe. Looking afar, he was able to see what was happening in the myriad ancient sacred world. He broke through to the final realm? Sacred Master was slightly startled. His expression changed. Even though they were both destruction devils, Sacred Master did not feel happy at all. Instead, he felt frustrated. He wants to do something destructive and obtain the bestowment from the supreme law. That way, he would be more confident of grasping a higher law in the future. The eyes of Sacred Master flashed with a cold light. He disappeared from the place. Just like Old Monster Stone, who was determined to walk on the path of using strength to break through, he would still drag Sacred Master down at every crucial moment. Because the moment Sacred Master grasped the supreme law, the life and death of Old Monster Stone would be in the hands of Sacred Master. Furthermore, Emperor Jun would most likely not walk on the most difficult path of using strength to break through. Because Old Monster Stone cultivated embodied cultivation, he had no choice but to use strength to break through. Hence, Emperor Jun would be a greater opponent for Sacred Master in the future. Amen. Old Monster Stone, who was sleeping within the primitive sun star, might be asleep, but he was similarly sensitive to the outside world. That terrifying energy erupted, yet it was entirely different from that of Sacred Master, causing Old Monster Stone to wake up. His enormous body floated up from the primitive sun star. A new final realm expert? Or a destruction devil? The thin and small old man took a step before disappearing from the primitive sun star. He similarly would not allow another final realm expert to obtain the supreme law so easily. How could this be? We can only ask teacher for help. Being the leaders of the myriad ancient sacred world, Jiezu and Wuzhu were naturally able to sense it at the first instance. It's just that Emperor Jun's wanton destruction gave them a headache. In the past, Sacred Master did so for the sake of spreading his religion, and for the sake of making many sentient beings believe in him. He did not want to destroy everything. But Emperor Jun was different. Even if Jiezu and Wuzhu went to obstruct him, Emperor Jun would still unleash a large-scale technique. Two peak level 2 cosmos gods could not protect the weak at all. Stop. A cold roar resounded. Sacred Master had arrived. This origin world is already approaching the great apocalypse. Why the need for you to slaughter? The thin and small old monster stone came too. The two of them acted at the same time. Sacred Master, you are a great devil of the primal chaos void, yet you are here to save these sentient beings? Emperor Jun guffawed. He instantly teleported more than half the myriad ancient sacred world to another location to continue his destruction. Hung. Old Monster Stone suddenly appeared by the side of Emperor Jun. He punched over. Emperor Jun merely laughed. The surrounding lines distorted, dissipating more than half the force of Old Monster Stone's punch. The remaining force was simply evaded by Emperor Jun with a flash. Hung long long, gray lightning descended. Sacred Master wielded his spear and tried his best to defend against it. Haha! Emperor Jun guffawed. The surrounding lines distorted. He was merely defending and evading. He did not suffer any injuries at all. After all, he was a final realm expert, and his survival capabilities were strong. If he focused on evading and escaping, it was hard for Sacred Master and Old Monster Stone to injure him. Selah, and Emperor Jun was still executing his technique. Every palm of his caused the void to distort and destroy. His offensive technique had a wider range. Sacred Master had reached the final realm in the Tao of Lightning. An Old Monster Stone was a body cultivator who specialized in close combat. It was hard for them to obstruct Emperor Jun's wanton destruction for a moment. Chi, a sword light suddenly appeared. It directly pierced through Emperor Jun's back and came out from his chest. Emperor Jun lowered his head in disbelief as he looked at the sword piercing through his chest. When he turned around, he saw a white-haired man. Sword Master? Emperor Jun stared at the white-haired man. Sword Master, Old Monster Stone and Sacred Master, who were helpless against Emperor Jun, were also shocked when they saw this scene. That silent yet terrifying sword was something Old Monster Stone and Sacred Master only discovered after Emperor Jun was struck by it. They could feel an intense threat from it. The threat brought by Sword Master was even greater than what Emperor Jun felt. Chapter 1192. Sword Master is also a final realm expert? When did he break through? Old Monster Stone and Sacred Master were both incredibly startled. At this moment, they could naturally see that Sword Master was unquestionably a final realm expert. Furthermore, he was stronger than them. Hua! Emperor Jun, who had his chest pierced, abruptly dissipated. He turned into many black lights before converging in the distance. Clearly he was injured quite badly. He looked at the white-robed male in front of him with disbelief. You, how could you injure me? I am a final realm expert, so why can't I sense your move at all? A final realm expert can't injure me? Sword Master coldly struck out with his sword once again. Xiao. The sword light cut through the sky. Even though it seemed dazzling in reality, his eyes were deceiving him. The sword light had already pierced into his body. Hung. Emperor Jun's expression changed. He once again exploded his body, causing many lines to distort before converging in the distance. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Emperor Jun was unwilling to believe that he could not retaliate despite being a final realm expert. Every single sword had injured him quite badly. Sword Master merely chuckled. Xiao. He slashed out with his sword once again. The The sword light seemed more vast and majestic than the sky. Emperor Jun could not help but feel his heart wavering. Pung, his body once again turned into many black lights after being struck. Even his blood had turned into black lights in midair. Fortunately, he was a destruction devil. The destruction devils were innately good at survival. If he was weaker in survival, his injuries would be much more severe. How could this be? Why can't I defend against it? How is this possible? Emperor Jun was both startled and furious. He was unwilling at the same time. This time he did not try again. Instead, the space around his body distorted, and he disappeared. Final realm experts were quite formidable when it came to escaping. Escaping? Swordmaster focused and extended his senses across the entire primal chaos void. Suddenly, he felt the energy ripples from that destruction devil, and immediately rushed over. His body flashed, tearing through the void like a sword light as he rushed over. And in the distance, Sacred Master and Old Monster Stone were watching this scene in a daze. The two of them were dumbfounded. They were dumbfounded. How could this be? Sacred Master felt dizzy. He's this powerful? Old Monster Stone found it hard to believe. Even if he's reached the ultimate realm, he shouldn't be this powerful. They're obviously much stronger than us. The Holy Master's face was slightly distorted. How could this be? That Emperor Jun is also a final realm expert. So why couldn't he resist at all, and was completely trampled on? If it was him, he, the Holy Lord, would also be ravaged by the Sword Master. During the battle, not even he, the Holy Lord, could dodge a single strike from the Sword Master. In fact, every strike would consume his life force. If this went on for too long, he would be beaten to death. Unless he escaped. The power of his sword light is reserved, but when it erupts, it is so terrifying. Even if I were to ignite my ancient sacred incarnation to attack with all my strength, it would not be able to match up to him. Saint Master felt a chill in his heart. The ancient sacred incarnation could only ignite its power for a single strike. On the other hand, the Sword Master seemed to be very casual, but each of his sword strikes were terrifying. The battle was very easy, but the power was so great that it made Old Monster Stone and the sacred leader's hearts tremble. If I were to fight against it head-on, I would be injured too. Old Monster Stone understood this point. He could not fight against such a move head-on. Who would have thought that the strongest expert in this origin world is actually this Sword Master? He is stronger than me. He is much stronger. Sacred Master suddenly felt sullen and furious. He was used to being high and mighty. He was used to being feared by all living beings in the primal chaos void. But today, the strength of the Sword Master had completely surpassed him. This time, Emperor Jun's attack came too quickly. Outside the myriad ancient sacred world, only the final realm experts Old Monster Stone, Sacred Master, and Sword Master, who could sense the entire origin world, had immediately rushed over. For instance, even though Dongbua Shuang had comprehended that Feishua combat technique from the Supreme Secret Importation, Chaotic Origin 7 strikes, allowing him to not be any weaker than the final realm experts, he was still lacking in many mystical aspects. For instance, his survival techniques and his senses towards the origin world were still lacking by an entire level. It was just that his direct combat strength was quite amazing. The majority of Dongbua Shuiying's avatars were in closed-door cultivation. Only a few avatars were in charge of trivial matters. Within the Great Void Heaven Temple, in the Eastern Unicorn Sacred World, he had arranged for an avatar to be here. What? Emperor Jun has broken through to the final realm and wants to destroy the myriad ancient sacred world. Yet he was obstructed by Sacred Master, Senior Stone, and Sword Master? Sacred Master and Senior Stone could not stop him. Yet Sword Master managed to heavily injure Emperor Jun with 3 consecutive swords, causing Emperor Jun to flee in panic? Dongbua Shuiying, Forefather Tian Yu, Void Primogenitor, Blade Emperor, Jade Light Master, Devil Mountain Primogenitor, and other cosmos gods were dumbstruck when they heard the news. Emperor Jun had broken through to the final realm? Sword Master had reached the final realm too. Furthermore, his strength was beyond that of Old Monster Stone, Sacred Master, and Emperor Jun. What is going on? Dongbua Shuang utilized the Destruction Realm teleportation technique to observe the battle. Emperor Jun appeared in the primal chaos void. He looked at a primal chaos land in front of him. There were many sentient beings on this primal chaos land. Destroy them all. Emperor Jun waved his hand. Hong Long Long. A terrifying ripple engulfed the entire primal chaos land. This primal chaos land was directly destroyed, leaving nothing behind. Clearly, the entire primal chaos land, including weapons, could not survive under the attack of a final realm expert. Go! Emperor Jun did not hesitate. He immediately fled once again. South, the void by the side distorted, and Emperor Jun disappeared. Selah. Just as Emperor Jun disappeared, a sword light appeared from the void. It turned into Swordmaster. Damn. Swordmaster looked to the side. There was clearly a primal chaos land recorded on the primal chaos void star map. Yet it had completely disappeared. Chase. Swordmaster continued chasing after Emperor Jun was frantically escaping. As he fled, he concealed his aura, making it hard for Swordmaster to discover him. This was normal. It was just like how when Dongbua Shuang concealed his aura, even unparalleled existences could not find him. If Emperor Jun concealed his aura, it was true that Swordmaster would not be able to discover him. But as long as there was a sufficiently strong fluctuation, Swordmaster would be able to discover him. But by the time he arrived, he was already a step too late. Ha ha ha, Swordmaster, you might be strong but you can't kill me. If I want to destroy, you can't stop me either. Emperor Jun's voice was like an imprint that resounded in the surrounding primal chaos void. This caused the expression of Swordmaster, who had just arrived, to turn ashen. South. This time, Emperor Jun directly appeared in the Eastern Unicorn Sacred World. Hong. The moment Emperor Jun appeared, he was about to send out a palm strike towards the city below. Xiao. A sword light flashed past Emperor Jun's body, slicing it apart. Emperor Jun's body immediately split apart. The evil energy of destruction gathered in the distance once again. He looked at Swordmaster with disbelief. How did you catch up to me? Before he acted, he had concealed his aura. No, the weapon is different. Emperor Jun looked at the distant Swordmaster and chuckled softly. I really didn't expect that you, Swordmaster, actually have an avatar. Why? Is this avatar of yours specially protecting the entire Eastern Unicorn Sacred World? That's right, your sect, the Great Void Heaven Temple, is in the Eastern Unicorn Sacred World. It is normal for you to arrange an avatar to protect this place. But I am curious, how many avatars do you have? South. Emperor Jun disappeared from the sky. He rushed towards the myriad ancient sacred world. Currently, the myriad ancient sacred world did not have the protection of Swordmaster. When Emperor Jun appeared in the myriad ancient sacred world, he only hurriedly sent out a palm strike before fleeing. Whose Swordmaster appeared? This Emperor Jun is too cunning. Unless I have many avatars protecting every single location, it is impossible for me to stop him. Swordmaster felt frustrated. It's a pity that he only had a single avatar. Furthermore, it was an avatar he obtained because of the ancient cultivation technique. Even though Old Monster Stone and Sacred Master are both final realm experts, they do not specialize in domain techniques. It is hard for them to protect a sacred world. Swordmaster shook his head inwardly. Dongbua Shuang only saw Emperor Jun at the moment when Emperor Jun arrived at the Eastern Unicorn Sacred World. He also saw how Swordmaster injured Emperor Jun with a single sword. Swordmaster's strength is so formidable. It feels like he has 30% of the strength of an unparalleled existence. Dongbua Shuang determined with a single glance. Because his chaotic origin weapon, Azure River Spear, was roughly 30% of the strength of an unparalleled existence. Of course, the unparalleled existences here were based on Eternal Night Primogenitor. Of all unparalleled existences, Dongbua Shuang understood Eternal Night Primogenitor the most. In the Primal Chaos Void, none of them had any supreme-graded secret treasures or chaotic origin weapons. For Swordmaster to have such strength, Dongbua Shuang could not help but suspect that Swordmaster had also acquired a supreme-graded secret importation. Everyone be careful. Don't go out of the Eastern Unicorn sacred world. That Emperor June is escaping and killing across the entire primal chaos void. I only have an avatar that can protect the Eastern Unicorn sacred world. As for the other sacred worlds, I can't protect them at all. My true body has to continue chasing after him. If I don't, he would most likely continue his wanton destruction. Sword Master transmitted. He was constantly chasing after Emperor June. Emperor June could only cause temporary destruction before escaping. The degree of destruction was relatively low. If he continued for a long period of time, an entire sacred world could be destroyed. What? He is still destroying. What should we do? That Emperor June would immediately escape after destroying a single place. If this continues, the entire primal chaos void would be destroyed. Unless the great apocalypse is coming ahead of time. Many cosmos gods were anxious. Dongbo Shueying immediately understood why Sword Master was troublesome. Sword Master only had two bodies. One was an avatar, and the other was his true body. There were many places that Sword Master could not protect. Sword Master, let me lend you a hand. Dongbo Shueying transmitted over. Chapter 1193. Sword Master stood in the sky above the Eastern Unicorn sacred world. He could sense the entire sacred world. It's a pity that I cultivate the Tao of destruction. If it were the Tao of ripple or Tao of void, I could unleash my domain across the primal chaos void, preventing Emperor June from escaping. Sword Master felt helpless inwardly. He cultivated the Tao of destruction. Sacred Master cultivated the Tao of lightning, and Old Monster Stone cultivated the body cultivator. None of them specialized in domains. They could sense all disturbances in the primal chaos void. If they searched for traces, they could trace almost all cosmos gods. But the final realm was the true grand perfection realm. Their soul aura was completely hidden, and it was impossible to trace them. Sword Master, Sacred Master, and Old Monster Stone might be able to sense the entire primal chaos void, but they could not sense the existence of Emperor June unless Emperor June unleashed his full strength. And those who specialized in domain techniques would be able to envelop an entire origin world. Hence, they would be able to observe all life forms within their domain. They would be able to sense all movements of Emperor June. For instance, transformation, concealment of aura, flying, teleportation, tearing through the void, and other actions could be seen clearly within the domain. Naturally, they would not be able to escape. It's a pity they did not specialize in this. He was still fine. By relying on the supreme graded secret impartation, even though he did not specialize in domains, his destruction domain could still envelop an entire sacred world, allowing him to protect the Eastern Unicorn sacred world. But Sacred Master and Old Monster Stone could not even envelop an entire sacred world with their domains. If a final realm expert is determined to escape, even unparalleled existences would have a hard time killing him. This Emperor June is constantly escaping and destroying. If this continues, the entire hometown origin world will be destroyed. Sword Master felt anxious in his heart, yet he could not think of any solutions. Sword Master, let me lend you a hand. Suddenly, a voice transmitted over. Amen. Sword Master, who stood above the Eastern Unicorn sacred world, was startled. It's Snow Eagle? He is helping me. How is he going to help me? Wang. Above the myriad ancient sacred world, Dongbo Shueying appeared. He shook his head slightly as he looked at the great earth torn apart. In the ancestor mother world, another Dongbo Shueying appeared. He was looking down at the countless life forms below. In the ancient saint world, there was another Dongbo Shueying who had appeared. Towards these living beings who were completely loyal to the Saint Master, Dongbo Shueying did not have any killing intent towards them. All he felt was pity for them. These were a bunch of pitiful people. Soon, you guys will be free soon. In addition, he already had an avatar in the Eastern Unicorn sacred world. The four doppelgangers used their domain techniques at the same time. Boom! Myriad ancient sacred world. The original leaders of this sacred world, Wu Zhu and Jie Zhu, were both anxious and in despair. What should we do? Although the sword master's strength is beyond imagination, and he's even stronger than my master and the saint master, he's still far stronger than me. Even though I have completely suppressed that destruction devil, I can't kill it. That final realm destruction devil is still wreaking havoc. If this continues, it will likely plunge the entire primal chaos void into a great apocalypse within 1,000 years. Jiezu clenched his fists tightly. He was indignant. If the origin world was destroyed, they would die too. He originally wanted to break through to the final realm. Now that the origin world was about to be destroyed, it was impossible for him to break through in this short period of time. We can't stop him? We can't stop him? Wu Zhu felt heartache too. Old Monster Stone shook his head and sighed as he watched. It's over. This era is about to end. The great apocalypse is coming. Sacred Master stood coldly in midair. His expression was gloomy. Seeing as Emperor Jun was about to be destroyed, he was about to be bestowed with the supreme law, yet he could not stop it at all. This made Sacred Master's mood terrible. Suddenly, a terrifying ripple suddenly enveloped the entire myriad ancient sacred world. This ripple was like the undercurrent of the vast ocean that was constantly surging. Even though it seemed relatively calm, and the flowers and grasses on the myriad ancient sacred world were not affected, Sacred Master, Old Monster Stone, Jiezu, Wu Zhu, and the others could feel that this was due to this frightening ripple being restrained. It was like the ocean. When it was calm, everything would be quiet. The moment it erupted, its power would be much more terrifying. This ripple has enveloped the entire sacred world? Where did this ripple come from? Sacred Master, Old Monster Stone, Jiezu, and Wu Zhu began investigating. Soon they discovered that white-robed young man. Dongbo Shuiying? It's him. Ancestor Mother World. Dongbo Shuiying similarly executed the fourth killing move of the Feishua combat technique, Chaotic Origin Ocean. This was a killing move that Dongbo Shuiying had created after using his Tao of Void that was just a step away from reaching the final realm. He then fused it with the insights he gained from the Supreme Secret Importation and the higher dimensional space as a reference. Any killing move was something that Dongbo Shuiying was truly satisfied with. He was satisfied with its power too. This is Ancestor Mother, who had been staying low profile in the Ancestor Mother world, looked up at the sky. She saw that white-robed male, who was releasing his domain. Dongbo Shuiying. How could he be so strong? Ancestor Mother felt her heart turning cold. At this moment, in the four great sacred worlds that still existed, Ancient Sacred World, Myriad Ancient Sacred World, Ancestor Mother World, and Eastern Unicorn Sacred World, Dongbo Shuiying's four great avatars simultaneously executed the Chaotic Origin Ocean technique. His domain enveloped a sacred world. Actually, the Tao of Void specialized in domains. The Void Ocean, that was qualified to be listed in Feishua's combat technique killing move, was even more formidable. Even in the realm Heart Great Land, it could easily envelop a vast region. Most great cities could be easily enveloped by it. As for the four sacred worlds in his hometown origin world, firstly, they were smaller in size. Secondly, the law suppression was too weak. The ancient sacred world had long been refined by Sacred Master and was under his complete control. The other three sacred worlds were created by Cosmos gods too. The fundamental law they created were laws at the Cosmos god level. They could not compare with the primitive ancient sacred world, much less the realm Heart Great Land. The realm Heart Great Land was created and controlled by Yuan. Its law suppression was even stricter. The stronger an expert was, the more unparalleled he was. This bit of law suppression. Dongbo Shuiying sighed inwardly. Given his current strength, he could disregard the law suppression of the sacred world. He could even resist against the suppression of the ancient sacred world. It's useless. I won't tangle with you. Even though I'm slower, this origin world will eventually welcome the great apocalypse. Emperor Jun sneered. His eyes were flashing with the excitement of destruction. He was born for the sake of destruction, even though his current strength could restrain this desire of destruction. Nevertheless, this desire ultimately penetrated deep into his soul. The more he destroyed, the more satisfied he would be. South, he once again penetrated through the void and arrived at the Ancestor Mother World. Destroy. The moment he arrived at the Ancestor Mother World, Emperor Jun swung his tail, causing the world to split apart. But following that, the expression of Emperor Jun changed. Originally, he was sneering with disdain. He did not place that Ancestor Mother in the Ancestor Mother World in his eyes. Hence, he immediately destroyed the world the moment he arrived. But just as he did so, he felt an incomparably terrifying energy surging over. Suppress. This avatar of Dongbua Shueying that was responsible for protecting the Ancestor Mother World was also one of the 9 strongest avatars. A cold light flashed in the eyes of Dongbua Shueying. He immediately unleashed the power of his domain. Emperor Jun could only feel the endless energy surging over and pushing him away. The attack he swung his tail had long dissipated under this terrifying domain. Under this domain, Emperor Jun felt extremely uncomfortable. He was being obstructed in all directions. How can there be such a terrifying domain? Emperor Jun did not dare believe. Even my strength is greatly reduced by this domain. Hua. The white-robed Dongbua Shueying appeared from the void wave. He instantly appeared in front of Emperor Jun. It's you, Dongbua Shueying? Emperor Jun did not dare believe it. He still clawed out with a savage smile. Even with the domain obstructing him, many distorted lines still shot towards Dongbua Shueying. Great heaven and earth splitting line. Dongbua Shueying used his palm as a blade and slashed it forward. Hua. A black line appeared. Heaven and earth split apart from the center. It also appeared where Emperor Jun was. The distorted lines formed by Emperor Jun's claw were continuously sliced apart by this black line. But the power of the black line was also decreasing. Finally, all the distorted lines were cut apart. That black line continued to strike the body of Emperor Jun. Emperor Jun's body twisted. His surroundings became like a black hole, blocking the remaining strand of power. Emperor Jun's expression was filled with shock. His strength is actually not any weaker than mine? How would he know? Dongbua Shueying had killed Paragon Lords before. He also had the experience of fighting against the 8 Silk Island Master. Hence, he did not fear a final realm expert. Xiao. A sword light instantly slashed through the body of Emperor Jun, splitting his body into 2. Following that, the black light rapidly condensed. He looked at the distant sword master before turning to the white-robed Dongbua Shueying. How is this possible? 2 final realm experts have appeared? Even though he did not dare believe it with grief and indignation, Emperor Jun's body still flashed. The surrounding space became distorted, and he disappeared from the vicinity. Sword Master turned to Dongbua Shueying with a grin. He transmitted, Yingshan Snow Eagle? Heavens will Taoist? Any avatar of his could fight against a final realm expert. How could Sword Master not guess that Yingshan Snow Eagle was Heavens will Taoist? Paragon Master Bewitching Sword? Dongbua Shueying transmitted back with a chuckle. They both specialized in the sword. They were both final realm experts. The rise of Paragon Master Bewitching Sword was rapid. According to the time when Paragon Master Bewitching Sword reincarnated in the Tsang clan, it should be when Sword Master just entered the Great Void Heaven Temple. Furthermore, the other party treated him so well. That indescribable sense of familiarity made Dongbua Shueying confirm his conjecture at the same time when Sword Master unleashed his strength. The 2 of them grinned at each other. You can protect the 4 great sacred worlds, and my 2 avatars can chase after him. It's just that he is escaping in all directions. Given how vast the primal chaos void is, it is hard for us to obstruct him. Sword Master transmitted. I have an idea. Dongbua Shueying chuckled. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.